A desperate cry for father echoes through the snowy night. Duke Sorfel, head of the duchy, looks down with a pained expression. Amidst floating bodies, desperate pleas to be saved ring out. A woman's life is summarized, despised, jeered at, and known only for cruelty. Bound and kneeling in the snow, a figure remains silent. Ravi Saril, the second son, smirks as his terrible revenge unfolds. A bound, pink-haired girl watches in horror, realizing she died for her brother's revenge. The Duke declares their sin of harming his eldest son is too great to ignore, as the girl begs for mercy. He orders them taken away, ending their pathetic story. The pink-haired girl screams in utter despair. Ludvig Sorel, the eldest son, is revealed as the one who orchestrates these endings. She cries that she didn't mean to kill her brother, then stands tearfully, holding a sword. A brown-haired woman gasps, jolting awake from a nightmare. She sits up, grimly reflecting on her bloody dream death, glad it wasn't a guillotine. Exhausted, she holds her head in her hands. She wonders about this 20-year dream and asks her granny for answers as lightning flashes. Her expression hardens with determination. She realizes the woman in her dreams is a ghost. She recalls seeing ghosts since her mother died, learning they only harm the fearful. As a woman, she maintains that ghosts are rarely dangerous without fear. Now a poised professional, the brown-haired woman carries herself with confidence. Colleagues praise Miss Sia, a national actor, for her flawless work. Sia Lee reflects on her hard-won career as a top star since age 14. A smiling woman with short dark hair named Ji-hyun thanks Sia. Sia asks why Ji-hyun is here. Ji-hyun came to express her thanks. Ji-hyun thanks Sia for the funeral wreath, and Sia says she was just concerned about her fortune. Ji-hyun marvels at Sia's fortune-telling, but Sia demurely brushes it off. Internally, Sia complains about how Ji-hyun's grandmother's ghost begged her relentlessly for help. She reflects that she helped because Ji-hyun is a longtime coworker. Sia casually asks if Ji-hyun followed her advice about the persimmon tree. Ji-hyun recalls finding money and a will from her grandmother, just as predicted. As Ji-hyun beams at her, Sia confirms she got all the information from the grandmother's ghost. Ji-hyun waves goodbye, promising to make Sia look even prettier for her next shoot. Sia watches her leave, the translucent ghost of the grandmother floating nearby. She turns with a sharp, fluid motion. Finally relaxing in her makeup chair, Sia feels drained now that the ghostly problem is solved. She closes her eyes, hoping for a peaceful sleep without the recurring nightmare. But the image of a guillotine fills her mind as she questions the endless dream. She sees the pink-haired woman die yet again, knowing her own awakening follows. Suddenly, terrifying red eyes appear, and she realizes she's trapped in the dream, unable to wake up. Panic sets in as she desperately wills herself to wake up. With a gasp, Sia finally jolts awake in the real world. She stumbles, shaken that for the first time she saw the dead woman's face, filling her with anxiety. Walking onto set, she remembers the dream woman's resentful and sad eyes. A sudden, deep chill runs down her spine. A crew member greets Miss Sia, and she agrees to start the scene. She reassures herself that the scene, a birthday party, will be easy. Above the set, a massive crystal chandelier begins to creak and sway. A sudden shout warns everyone to watch out. With a crash, the chandelier plummets directly toward a horrified Sia. As Miss Sia lies bleeding, someone screams for an ambulance while she wonders what happened. In her fading consciousness, she sees the face of a ghostly, blue-haired woman. The smiling ghost seems to ask, "Me?" Sia laments that ghosts have plagued her life, and now one has caused her death. "Wah!" a pink-haired girl screams. Waking up abruptly, she sits up in bed, confused and wondering why her body feels so light. Panicking, she checks her face for bandages and questions if the chandelier accident was an illusion. Her red eyes widen in dawning horror. Thump! Her bedroom door swings open. A blond young man enters, and she recognizes him as Ravi Sorel. She stares at Ravi, who has entered her room. She wonders if she's still dreaming. as a caption identifies her as Camilla Sorrel. Ravi turns his back to her with an exasperated sound. Recalling that Ravi tried to kill his brother using Camilla, she thinks he's annoying. Wham! She leaps up and smacks Ravi squarely on the head. Ravi looks back, utterly bewildered by the sudden attack. Camilla glares at him, a new fire in her eyes. She thinks about how she wanted to punch him for causing Camilla's death. Stunned, Ravi clutches his head and demands to know how she dared to hit him. Camilla internally credits her acting skills, deciding she was just half asleep. She brazenly tells a stunned Ravi that he can't do anything since she was half asleep. Ravi tries to rationalize her behavior, but questions if the timid Camilla was always this strong. He orders her to get ready, but she retorts that he's just trying to impress the Duke. A grim thought surfaces. He will ultimately die alongside Camilla anyway. Camilla and Ravi walk down a sunlit hall in tense silence. Still walking, she continues to wonder if this is all just a dream. A framed memory shows a younger Camilla and Ravi. Now dressed, Camilla wonders if her fate is linked to the ghost that resembles her. Duke Sorfel sits at the head of a long dining table as Camilla approaches. Noticing Ludville's empty seat, she realizes this is during the Western Rebellion. Ludville's success fueled Ravi's inferiority complex, causing him to stew in resentment. Camilla worries about being trapped in this dream forever. Seeing the Duke's cold eyes, she knows that look will lead to her death again. The family sits at the large, silent table. Camilla suddenly breaks the silence, making a request. Startled, Ravi jerks his head toward her. He stares at her, completely baffled by her speaking up. Camilla smiles sweetly, a picture of innocence. The Duke notes her unusual behavior, sensing something is wrong. A maid wheels in a cart with a plate of food. The maid serves the steak to Lady Camilla, who thanks her politely. Puffed, turning away, the maid stifles a malicious laugh. It's revealed that maids have long bullied the timid Camilla, even during meals. Camilla cuts her steak, vowing the mocking maid's laughter will soon end. She internally questions what inedible trick was played on her food this time. The Duke looks over with a questioning, Beaming, Camilla offers the perfectly cut steak to him, calling him Dad. Ravi's jaw drops in utter disbelief at her bold move. The Duke stares, taken aback by her sudden and unexpected gesture. Camilla stands beside the Duke's chair, radiating newfound confidence. Ravi suspiciously asks if she's fully awake, as the Duke reluctantly agrees. The Duke stares in stunned silence, completely shocked by her action. Camilla sits calmly, thinking to herself, I have laid down my trap. Her eyes narrow with focus, as she thinks that this next part is important. Bang! Camilla leaps up, shouting for her father not to eat the steak. A confused Ravi watches as Camilla apologizes and asks for the steak back. The Duke addresses Camilla, coldly noting this isn't her first time eating such things. Clenching her dress, Camilla whispers her father's name. A subtle, triumphant smile crosses her lips. Camilla vows not to tolerate bullies, as the offending maid trembles in fear. She decides it's time to reveal to her family why she always ate so little. Camilla begins to explain about the dish, feigning concern for her father. Eek! The maid shrieks as the Duke declares he will punish those who tarnished his name. She recalls that for the family name, her father would even kill his children. 1 week later, Camilla sits alone on her bed. Still trapped in the dream world, she wonders if she's died or fallen into a coma. A knock at the door makes her groan in annoyance. A cheerful, purple-haired maid with glasses is introduced as Donna. Donna reacts with comic dismay as Camilla claims to have no appetite. After the incident, the Duke improved food safety and fired the bullying maids. Camilla waves off a meal, but Donna insists the chef himself has come to see her. Fuming internally, Camilla clenches her fist in frustration. The head chef presents a fruitcake, sternly instructing his staff on hospitality. A blue ghost critiques the cake, pointing out that Camilla dislikes apples. As the chef waits, the ghost behind him furiously calls him culinary garbage. The enraged ghost turns to her, screaming her name for confirmation. Pouting, Camilla ignores the ghostly rant as Donna asks about her tea preference. Outside a grand academy, a student asks if his friend knows her. The other student replies that he thinks he's heard of the girl. The blonde boy smirks, gossiping about a gloomy stalker who stole a handkerchief. He calls her a fake young lady, as his friend warns him against insulting the Duke's daughter. The blonde boy gasps, suddenly realizing who they were talking about. Panicked, he drags his friend away from the hallway. They see a handsome, black-haired man, a son of another Duke family. He is identified as Arshian Sepra, the eldest son of Duke Sepra. In a flashback, the chef recalls how a simple pastry brought sunlight to his heart. He remembers dreaming of making food that could bring others such happiness. A younger version of the chef blissfully enjoys the treat. He recalls how his mentor's apple pie recipe was the essence of a chef's life. Back in the present, the chef looks heartbroken, asking why she didn't finish his food. The chef brings Camilla a new dish, an apple pie, to replace her uneaten meal. Arrogantly, he tells her to be grateful and try the apple pie he poured his heart into. The ghostly mentor reappears, infuriated that his disciple forgot Camilla hates apples. The ghost is identified as Pierre, Foretells' previous chef, still screaming in rage. Camilla thinks that after show business, she's used to rude people. She glances at the bickering duo, thinking how incredibly loud the ghost is. As the chef and the ghost watch, Camilla prepares to eat the pie. She takes her first bite of the apple pie. A close-up shows the slice of pie she has just eaten. Camilla dismisses the pie, while the chef protests that it's his mentor's treasured recipe. The chef stares in utter confusion. Surrounded by a floral background, Camilla states simply that she dislikes apples. She waves the chef away from her bedside. Tearing up, the chef remembers his mentor saying something similar as the ghost scolds him. The chef hastily excuses himself as Camilla waves him off with a smile. She turns away, adding that she wishes the ghost would leave too. The blue ghost of Pierre looks over, surprised. Startled, Pierre asks if she can see him, but Camilla just pulls the covers over her head to sleep. The ghostly chef is left utterly speechless. He frantically insists that he's telling the truth. While little blob ghosts peek around a door, he explains that Camilla spoke directly to him. A second ghost with a monocle, the previous butler, Darren, finds this development interesting. Darren gently reminds Pierre that passing away shouldn't mean losing one's identity. Darren wonders if it was a coincidence, but Pierre insists their eyes met. Darren, the ghostly butler, strikes a thoughtful pose. The two ghosts eagerly agree to play a game of chess. A few days later, Camilla laments her situation as the two ghosts haunt her room. She paces anxiously, desperately trying to figure out a way to survive. With newfound determination, she clenches her fist. A flashback explains that no one believed the accusations against Camilla after she refused to help Ravi. However, it's noted that her own terrible behavior was also a factor. Camilla decides her first step is to win over Duke Sorfel, then addresses the ghost directly. She demands the ghost turn and acknowledge her since he wanted to talk before. As Pierre the ghost looks shocked, Camilla recalls a past incident at a party. As someone shouts her name, Camilla snaps in frustration. She finally admits she can see the ghosts and angrily tells them to stop bothering her. Pointing a finger, Camilla declares she will not solve their problems or fulfill their regrets. Annoyed that they aren't listening, she turns away as the ghosts marvel at her ability. She worries she'll become a ghost herself if this continues, while they excitedly confirm she can see them both. The two ghosts look at each other, one sighing in exasperation. Camilla feigns ignorance, claiming she doesn't know what the Duke likes. Her response shifts as the ghosts declare that they know exactly what he likes. The ghostly butler Darren proudly states he's served the duchy since before the Duke's birth. Pierre agrees, fondly recalling how the Duke was a picky eater as a child. Camilla listens to their stories, momentarily speechless. Out in the garden, elegant shoes step onto the grass. Duke Sorfel enjoys a walk, noting it's been a while since he's been there. His walk is interrupted when he spots Camilla in the distance. He recognizes his daughter, who is humming while gathering flowers. The Duke's expression darkens, fearing she'll destroy the flowers like before. He recalls how she previously destroyed the rose garden, which was replaceable, unlike the mist flowers. Holding her hand firmly, he questions her presence in the garden. Camilla looks up at her father with a calm gaze. The Duke glares down, asking about the flowers she's holding. She sweetly explains they are for his room, adding that she knows he likes mist flowers. Utterly taken aback, the Duke questions if the flowers are for his room. Camilla smiles brightly, happily confirming her intentions to her father. Internally, she delights in his shocked and confused expression. Camilla thinks of her father, the Duke, with a smug little smile. The Duke is stunned by her gesture, questioning if the flowers are for his room. She looks up at her father with a nervous but hopeful expression. He reluctantly tells her to do as she wishes, and she beams, thanking him profusely. It's revealed that Duke's late mother loved mist flowers and personally cared for the garden. This is why the Duke holds a special place in his heart for the mist flowers. Later, Camilla asks the ghost if the Duke liked her gesture, concluding that he did. She notes his reaction was a clear departure from his usual cold indifference. Though their relationship isn't fixed, she believes she has created a crucial opportunity. With the ghost in tow, she confidently approaches the large doors to her father's office. Thwack! She dramatically throws open the doors with a confident pose. Inside, the Duke sits at his desk while an aide stands before him. The aide, Jactor, happily reports that Ludville has once again made a great contribution. Jactor enthusiastically praises Ludville's amazing work while presenting the related documents. The Duke listens silently, the vase of white mist flowers sitting on his desk. The delicate mist flowers stand in the vase, a quiet reminder of Camilla's gesture. His mind elsewhere, the Duke suddenly asks Jactor if Camilla has been eating properly. The Duke's gaze intensifies, and a panicked Jactor promises to find out immediately. A man's hand reaches for the door as a voice announces the arrival of someone named Lud. The butler, introduced as Rube, wheels in a food cart, having anticipated the Duke's needs. Rube wheels the meal into the office, as Jactor observes that the timing is perfect. A steaming bowl of yellow soup and fresh bread are presented on the cart. A small, chibi-style Duke peeks out nervously from behind a chair. The Duke asks Rube why he is just standing there staring, but Rube dismisses it with a laugh. A spoon gently stirs the creamy yellow soup. The Duke takes a spoonful of the soup, his expression pausing in thought. He has a flashback to his younger self eating the same soup under a chef's watchful eye. The chef from the memory wonders if this is Pierre's cooking. The Duke asks if Gerald finally recreated Pierre's soup, but Rube says it wasn't him. Confused, the Duke asks who could have possibly made it. Rube smiles brightly, revealing that Lady Camilla was the one who prepared the soup. The Duke stares down at the soup, his hand resting near the bowl. In the kitchen, the current chef, Gerald, tastes the soup and reels back in shock. He marvels at the soup's perfect golden color and deep, familiar scent. Stunned by the flavor, he wonders how this taste was achieved. Camilla asks how it tastes, but a stunned Gerald remains silent, the ghost watching on. He suddenly explodes with emotion, demanding to know how she made it. Camilla crosses her arms with a smug look, explaining that the reason is quite simple. Her crimson eyes flash with cunning as she reveals her secret. She states that Pierre himself made the soup, as the ghostly chef gives a confident thumbs up. Camilla explains that she allowed the ghost of Pierre to possess her body to cook. She taunts Gerald, reminding him that he never got the soup recipe after Pierre's sudden death. A flashback shows a younger, flustered Gerald reacting to the news. With a confident smile, Camilla reminds Gerald of the bet they made. He can only stare back in utter disbelief, murmuring, "What?" Her expression darkens as she mocks him for looking up at her, making him flinch. In a flashback, a smirking Gerald challenges her to a bet, promising to kneel if she can cook something that satisfies him. Camilla looks on with a cool, unimpressed expression during his arrogant challenge. Defeated, Gerald kneels on the floor before her. Camilla calmly sips her tea, savoring her complete and total victory. Camilla sips her tea as the two nervous ghosts watch her in silence. The ghosts anxiously ask Camilla if she has anything to say, finding her silence unsettling. With a confident smile, Camilla prompts them to tell her what they want. She believes that no ghost would offer help without wanting something in return. The two ghostly servants listen intently to her proposition. Surrounded by a floral aura, Camilla declares that she will need their help going forward. She resolves that to survive and fix her reputation, she can at least help a few ghosts with their regrets. She turns her head with a knowing smirk. The ghostly butler and chef exchange a serious look, contemplating her words. Leaning forward with a cunning smile, Camilla waits for their answer. The ghostly duo exchange a look, one sighing while the other looks on. Camilla bursts into triumphant laughter, her plan seemingly working. The ghostly chef, Pierre, raises a finger and states his one desire, to cook. A confused, chibi-style Camilla misunderstands, wondering if he wants her to prepare an ancestral rite meal. Pierre recalls his life's greatest joy, seeing people enjoy the food he prepared. The ghostly chef bows deeply, thanking Camilla for the chance to cook once more. Flustered, Camilla accepts his thanks, deciding not to question their simple wishes any further. Darren explains that his greatest happiness is simply using his knowledge to help the family. He continues, expressing his joy at having helped return the mist flowers to the Duke's office. Smiling warmly by the vase, the ghostly butler thanks Camilla for the opportunity. Camilla is left speechless by their selfless sincerity. As the ghost's eyes sparkle with joy, she wonders why these people are so genuinely nice. Annoyed by their selflessness, she wonders if their only regret is not being bigger doormats. She stands, declaring she understands while concluding they have no difficult wishes she needs to grant. She clenches her dress, a mix of frustration and resolution on her face. With a warm smile, she decides to cooperate fully since they are helping her so freely. 10 days later, several glasses of a sparkling purple beverage are neatly arranged. Gerald, the current chef, trembles with anxiety as he eyes the drinks. Now dressed as a chef's assistant, Camilla smirks confidently in the kitchen. Since recreating Pierre's soup, Camilla has been cooking nightly. She internally complains about Gerald's posture as the delighted ghost chef floats nearby. Gerald stares at the drink, wondering how she achieved the color and if his mentor left a secret recipe book. He glares, annoyed by the confident look on her face. Guided by Pierre's ghost, Camilla selects an ingredient from a jar. He gestures dismissively, telling her to taste the leftover drink he made. He tastes his own creation and recoils, wondering why it tastes nothing like hers. As Camilla walks away, the defeated chef grudgingly admits her version isn't bad. Annoyed by his lingering pride, she grins and asks if he wants to know her secret. He suddenly grabs her hand, taken aback by her forwardness. Blushing furiously, Gerald awkwardly attempts to look cute as she requested. Horrified by his attempt, Camilla shrieks at him to stop, leaving him confused. Her attention is caught by the butler, Rube, who asks if she's ready. She tells him to wait. She carefully sprinkles a pinch of powder into one of the glasses. Camilla hands the tray of drinks to Rube, entrusting them to his care. As Rube departs with a knowing smirk, Camilla mockingly asks Gerald if his knees hurt from kneeling. Snickering, Rube wonders how she managed to tame the notoriously bad-tempered chef. A firm knock sounds on a grand door. Inside a luxurious study, the Duke is in a meeting with 4 other noblemen. The Duke grants permission for the visitor to enter. As Rube serves the drinks, one of the guests expresses his surprise that Camilla prepared them. A guest marvels at the drink's taste, wondering how Camilla made it. Another nobleman enthusiastically praises the amazing drink. An elderly nobleman listens silently, looking pleased. The Duke explains Camilla's persistence as a guest praises the virtue of having daughters. Rube realizes the Duke changed the meeting time just to show off Camilla's skills. A smirking young nobleman holds his glass, clearly enjoying the moment. The nobleman suggests Camilla is atoning for a past mistake, enraging another guest and the Duke. The Duke confronts the nobleman, declaring he can't drink wine and thus can't have the drink. Claiming his daughter's sincerity, The Duke demands the nobleman's drink for himself. Swoosh! Rube snatches the glass away, leaving the young nobleman utterly bewildered. The nobleman remains frozen in disbelief. In a flashback, a pink-haired woman discusses a special canap sauce recipe with a ghost. The pink-haired woman looks up, surprised. Startled, she confronts her brother, asking what he is doing there. Her brother looks away, remaining silent and pensive. Camilla stares ahead with fierce determination. He questions her, asking what she thinks she is doing. Annoyed, she retorts that she is simply cooking. Frustrated, he runs a hand through his hair. She internally fumes, wondering why he cares now after neglecting her for so long. He speaks of their shared ostracization, and she questions his sudden use of us. He warns her against useless efforts, and she calmly agrees. She clarifies she isn't seeking their recognition as family. He presses for an answer, but she cheerfully announces she's going to bed. Turning her back on him, she walks away. Looking out the window, she quietly resolves that she just wants to survive. He watches her go, silently echoing her desire to simply live. Rejecting the notion of family, Camilla declares she has no need for it. The scene returns to the present as Camilla calmly sips her tea, unsettling the ghosts. The anxious ghosts stare at her, unnerved by her silence. The ghosts finally ask what she meant by wanting to survive. The ghostly butler worries she can't die yet, as he still has cooking he wishes to do. She decides against revealing her future knowledge, fearing they would think she's crazy. She deflects with a charming smile, giving a simple answer about wanting to live. The ghosts nod in agreement, seemingly accepting her simple explanation. An idea strikes her. The ghosts might know the location of a buried item. Turning to the ghosts, she tells them to proceed with their questions. She gives them a cunning, knowing smile. A flashback reveals she once dug up a garden, searching for her late mother's buried ring. Without explaining herself, everyone assumed she was just being wantonly destructive. The Duke had scolded her fiercely, fearing she would destroy his treasured mist flowers. She asks the ghosts if they are certain the ring is buried in this spot. She frustratingly recalls the dream of that memory, holding the very ring she sought. The ghost scolds her for not asking for their help with the ring back then. Startled by the imposing butler ghost, she wonders what they are capable of. She politely declines their help, thanking them only for the ring's location. Her gaze hardens as she thinks, "It's you guys." Blaming the servants who buried the ring, she declares they started this fight. A young man named George asks a maid if she was also summoned. Two maids gossip, wondering why Camilla has summoned them. One maid smirks, betting Camilla will soon lose the Duke's favor. The servants enter a room and gasp in shock. Kya! A scream fills the air as Camilla is found lying lifeless on the floor. The head maid panics, wondering if she's dead as someone yells to check on her. In another room, the real Camilla lies peacefully on her bed. Finding drugs, the maid assumes it's suicide and orders the door locked. George and another maid react with confusion to the shocking scene. Click! A hand locks the grand double doors. The scene shifts to a quiet, sunlit drawing room. George comforts a distraught maid, confirming he believes Camilla is dead. The lead maid spots a letter with a wax seal on the desk. She picks up the letter as the other two servants look on questioningly. She reads Camilla's suicide note, which blames the servants for bullying her and hiding an heirloom, and panics at the implications. Deciding they can't go down with her, the maid resolves to destroy the letter. A glint of life appears in the supposedly dead Camilla's eye. Camilla's menacing eyes stare down at them as she questions their supposed luck. The servants turn in terror to see her standing there, and the lead maid lets out a piercing scream. As Camilla coolly wipes her hand, the terrified maid stammers, asking if she's a ghost. Camilla reveals her secret talent. She's quite good at acting dead. Outraged, the maid accuses Camilla of making a fool of them. With a sinister smile, Camilla presents a small bottle of pills. She paints a damning picture of them being found with her body and a suicide note. The maid accuses her of making threats, but Camilla dismisses the notion coolly. With a firm step, she closes the distance between them. Leaning in close, Camilla calls them insects that she can simply crush. At her menacing words, the terrified servants immediately fall to their knees, begging for forgiveness, which she grants. Smiling triumphantly, Camilla asks if they now understand what to do. Pardon. Surrounded by a floral aura, Camilla commands them to find the ring right now. The three terrified servants scramble to their feet and flee the room. Camilla sighs with relief as she watches them finally leave. The two familiar ghosts materialize behind her. She turns to face the ghostly butler and chef. The ghosts admit her performance was surprisingly convincing, wondering if it was just an act. Camilla lets out a triumphant laugh, reveling in her success. She cheekily tells the chibi ghost there might as well be an award for her acting. Darren, the ghostly butler, reminds her that she already possesses the ring she sent them to find. With a satisfied smile, Camilla confirms that she does. She smirks, her plan having worked perfectly. She thinks about the servants digging in an empty field, hoping they get a good scolding. In the pouring rain, the maids frantically dig for the ring, insisting they buried it there. The head maid cries in despair, realizing the ring is gone. She can't believe the other two servants would have been stupid enough to steal it. A voice suddenly interrupts them, asking what they are doing there. They look up to see the head butler, Rube, standing before them at dawn. Thump. The Duke slams his fist on his desk, enraged to hear the heirloom was stolen. Rube reports the servant's confession and clarifies that Camilla was digging to find the stolen ring. Full of regret, the Duke asks Camilla why she didn't tell him the truth sooner. He then turns to Rube and commands him to bring Camilla. The Duke sits alone in his grand study, lost in thought. He reflects that it's only natural for her to feel awkward around her new stepfather. Leaning on his hand, he continues to ponder the situation with a troubled expression. His thoughts turn to anger as he realizes the servants have been mistreating his daughter. A voice from the doorway asks if he called for her. Camilla enters, standing before him with a composed demeanor. Annoyed by the summons, she wonders what's happening now as the Duke asks why she hid the truth about the ring. He presses her for an answer, and she silently wonders why he looks so upset. Camilla maintains a stoic and watchful silence. The Duke struggles to find the right words, beginning with a hesitant, "Well..." He sits with his hands clasped, his expression serious and resolved. Camilla observes him, questioning if he's actually regretting his past actions. She recalls her past life, remembering how the person who killed her always coldly turned away. Standing across the room, she reminds herself they aren't close enough for her to confide in him. She apologizes, claiming she didn't want to bother him and tried to handle things herself. Thump. He slams his hand on the desk, insisting she has nothing to apologize for. With a grim expression, he declares that the servants are the ones who should be apologizing. He softens, telling Camilla that from now on she must come to him first. He emphasizes his point, urging her to always speak to him first. Camilla is visibly taken aback by his sudden display of fatherly concern. As he smiles warmly, she thinks that she just needs to improve her reputation to avoid being killed. Later, Camilla unfurls a large map on a table. As her ghost companions watch, she explains she's plotting an escape route, just in case. She dismisses their concerns with a bored wave of her hand. While she hopes to avoid running away, she knows things don't always go as planned, especially with Ravi around. Feeling uneasy about the Duke's change of heart, she anticipates the arrival of another dangerous figure. The scene introduces Ludvil Sorfel, the eldest son and Camilla's older brother. Camilla resolves to be wary of her brother Ludvil upon his return. A purple-haired maid informs Camilla that the Duke has requested her for tea time. The maid enters to find Camilla reading, flanked by her two ghostly friends. Camilla reflects that her current situation isn't so bad after all. She stands up, ready to face whatever comes next. She offers a small, knowing smile, her thoughts hidden. As she approaches, an unseen man thinks that this is an unusual occasion for them to have tea. She is surprised to see a young man named Ravi is also present. Ravi greets her with a charming smile, but she internally scoffs at his two-faced friendliness. She gives him a sidelong glance, wondering about his presence. Ravi maintains a perfectly pleasant and confident smile. He excitedly announces to the Duke that his thesis has been selected for presentation. Camilla realizes with a start that a pivotal day has arrived. The prestigious Magic Tower holds an annual presentation for its most promising wizards. With Ravi being chosen, it confirms his status as a top talent, and Camilla notes how he's struggling to hide his pride. A man bursts into the room, excitedly declaring a grand victory. He reports that Lord Ludville has successfully conquered the rebellion's headquarters, using his own strategy. The Duke jumps to his feet in disbelief, and the messenger confirms the news is from the Imperial Palace. As Ravi shares that the Emperor himself sent a letter, the Duke laughs with joy, while Camilla remains silent. The messenger turns to Ravi, wryly commenting on his terrible luck. Camilla looks worried, realizing the victory party clashes with Ravi's presentation. A white-haired man tells a visitor that it's all right to stay longer. A blonde man politely excuses himself, mentioning something he needs to take care of, and a pink-haired woman also announces her departure. After they leave, the white-haired man suggests to his companion that they should celebrate when Ludville returns. The pink-haired woman's footsteps echo as she walks away alone. The blonde man, now alone, bitterly wonders if he worked so hard just to be treated this way. He grimaces, wishing he'd learned battle magic instead, as he recalls a voice praising his brother Ravi's amazing talent. The pink-haired woman appears with a confident, knowing smile. The blonde man Ravi looks over at her and defensively asks if she is teasing him. In a cute chibi style, she insists she's telling the truth, praising his skills as something only the best wizards can do, leaving him flustered. The two stand back to back, a quiet understanding passing between them. Ravi watches with a serious expression as she walks away down the long hall. He looks back with a faint blush, caught off guard by her words. The scene transitions to the exterior of a grand, white-towered estate. A cheerful, purple-haired maid with glasses tells her lady that the dress suits her perfectly. The pink-haired woman, Camilla, sits pensively while her maid brushes her long hair. Lost in thought, Camilla rests her head on her hand, gazing into the distance. The maid enthusiastically promises to make her look gorgeous for the party, and Camilla calmly agrees. As her reflection appears in the mirror, Camilla thinks that while the political matchmaking is unfair, she has other plans. With a gentle smile, she decides she'll try on several outfits, since she wants to stand out. Ravi suddenly appears, asking why she's there and accusing her of starting another fight like at the last party. Camilla turns, a look of mild surprise on her face at his accusation. She cheekily admits she's quite good at grabbing people by their hair, shocking Ravi with her candor. Kia. A stylized flashback shows a hand yanking a fistful of hair. Camilla rises from her seat, leaving Ravi to marvel at her strangeness and lack of shame. Turning to him with a sly smile, she asks her brother Ravi if he got a new outfit for the occasion. He corrects her, stating the outfit is for his presentation, not the party. As she walks past, he's stunned that she remembered his presentation day and dismissively tells her to forget it. He internally questions why his presentation day would matter to her at all. She pauses, murmuring that he'll be compared to others if he doesn't choose a nice outfit. He gestures in frustration, finally admitting his guilt in the matter. Clenching his fist, he's tormented by a memory of a girl crying as her hair is pulled. The scene shifts to an outdoor festival, where a man shouts orders to make the victory party as elegant as possible. Ravi walks through the bustling town square, clad in a new purple cloak. He looks around, surprised that a festival is being held on the duchy's land. His expression sours as he realizes everyone is talking about Ludville. Clenching his fist, he forces himself to stop dwelling on it. He stands with a grimly determined look, ready for what's to come. The camera pans up a tall, magnificent white tower reaching into the sky. Inside a grand hall, a blue-haired man announces an upcoming presentation from the top wizards. A dark-haired man in an ornate blue coat calls out to Ravi. The man, Jaye, gives a smug smile, catching Ravi's attention. Ravi wonders why Judier, who usually glares at him, is being so friendly, as Judier asks if he's prepared. Jael feigns shock that the Magic Tower's ace is only somewhat prepared, leaving Ravi to demand what he's trying to say. Leaning closer, Jael simply calls his name again with a sly look. He wishes Ravi good luck while, from her seat, a purple-haired woman declares her faith in her brother. Jael gives a theatrical wave and a cheerful thank you. His demeanor darkens as he leans in to ask Ravi, who from his family came to watch. He taunts Ravi, saying that surely family would attend such an important event. Ravi grits his teeth, realizing the friendly act was just a prelude to this cruel jab. He coldly tells Jael it's none of his business, but Jael insists he's just concerned as a friend. A dark-haired young man named Jael smirks, agreeing with the silent thought. Ravi looks downcast as Jael internally scoffs that with the true son home, there's no time for a fake. As Jael approaches, Ravi glares back at him with barely concealed rage. A hand shoots out, grabbing a richly decorated purple collar. Thump. Ravi seizes Jael, furiously asking if bragging about family is his only skill. Jael demands to know what he's talking about, and Ravi brings up his thesis. Leaning in, Jaya mockingly asks if his professor offered some aggressive help. Ravi grabs Jaya's chin with a sinister smile, calling him an empty-headed fool who relies on family money. From her seat, Camilla witnesses Ravi yelling furiously, "Why, you bastard!" Jaya calmly straightens Ravi's collar, as a flustered Ravi demands to know what he's doing. A cascade of pink hair and a brilliant red bow fill the scene. A stunning woman with long pink hair appears in a magnificent red and black gown, surrounded by roses. They recall a news story about her father trying to kill her before his own suicide, as the girl sadly eats alone. A flashback reveals a woman screaming at a man, disowning the child and accusing him of cheating as the little girl watches from a corner. Back in the present, Ravi wears a pained expression, thinking of a time he felt completely unloved. He recalls how his maid, Donna, at least took good care of Camilla. A memory of a pink-haired actress shows her resolving to become great to earn the love of the masses. Ravi turns away, still lost in his troubling thoughts. The pink-haired actress sits with a determined and melancholy expression. At a formal event, Ravi is called to the podium and acknowledges the summons. As Ravi reads his papers, narration reveals he used Camilla because of an inferiority complex. He worried that she was alone in the family, just as he had been. Because of this shared loneliness, he had quietly cheered for her and Ludville. He had resolved not to let the idiots make him waste his time. Ravi wishes for a different life for them, while Camilla smirks, deciding to interfere after watching them for 20 years. The scene shifts to a tall, elegant tower standing against a vibrant sunset. Ravi confronts Camilla in a grand hall, angrily demanding to know why she is there. He then turns his criticism to her elaborate red and black outfit. Ravi thinks back, enjoying the memory of Jael's upset face but cringing at his own terrible presentation and his past self's disbelief that Camilla was his sister. Also wondering when she grew so beautiful. Camilla coolly replies that she doesn't know why she's there either, leaving Ravi confused. The two are shown as cute chibi figures, standing in a moment of awkward silence. As Camilla walks away, Ravi chastises himself for expecting a proper answer from the idiot. Camilla stops and turns back. Looking slightly surprised, Ravi glances back at her with a stern expression before leaving. She watches him go, her expression thoughtful and unreadable. A small smile touches her lips as she thinks that no one has ever waited for her before. She suddenly materializes behind Ravi, startling him into confusion. With a bright, infectious laugh, she asks what the heck that meant. Elsewhere, the Duke claps Ludville on the shoulder, praising him for attending the party so soon after his return. The Duke warmly greets his son, Ludville. Ludville humbly dismisses his recent accomplishments, telling his father it was nothing. The Duke sighs, taking the blame for Ravi's presentation, preventing two family members from attending. Ludville quietly thanks his father for his concern. Later that night, Ludville walks alone down a long, moonlit hall. He pauses by a grand window, his profile illuminated by the pale blue light. Looking out the window, his thoughts drift to that Camilla. He observes Camilla and Ravi in the garden below, noting with intrigue that she is taking care of him. Outside the grand manor, Camilla and Ravi stand beside a waiting carriage. Camilla looks toward the mansion, surmising that the party is still going on. As Chibi figures, Camilla internally complains that she even ate early just to avoid Ludville. Ravi tells Camilla he's going to make an appearance at the party and asks for her plans. Smiling, she declines, saying she is tired and doesn't want to see that person. A flashback shows Ludville holding a sword to a dying Camilla's neck, recalling she died by his hand. The memory continues, revealing that Ludville had her heart torn out and her head chopped off. Back in the present, Camilla reflects that her brother Ludville is impossible to read. Sighing, she walks through a garden, noting that the morning rain has left the flowers wet. The scene shifts to the Duke, who sits with his hands clasped and a slight knowing smile. As Camilla walks, she thinks about the muddy road of hardship ahead. Suddenly, her foot slips on a loose stone in the path. She gracefully recovers, striking a pose with a bouquet of flowers and asking if someone saw her. A close-up on her eye reveals she's looking at someone, who simply replies, "Huh." She is shocked to see her silver-haired brother, Ludville, standing before her. Internally, she panics, wondering why the one person she wanted to avoid is right there. Putting on a brave face, she offers him a brilliant, cheerful smile. They stand facing each other across a field of white flowers. Ludville observes her with a cold, unreadable expression. Annoyed by his silence, she wonders if he dislikes the flowers before deciding to leave. She turns and walks away, leaving him standing alone in the garden. A black-haired butler approaches Ludville with a curious look. The butler asks Ludville if he received the flowers. With a knowing smirk, the butler remarks on the oddity of the cold-blooded Lord Ludville receiving flowers. The butler offers to take the bouquet off his hands for him. To the butler's surprise, Ludville refuses the offer, saying it's fine. The butler notes that this is the first time such a thing has ever happened. Ludville gazes down at the flowers with a thoughtful expression. The butler is internally frustrated as Ludville stops talking mid-conversation. Ludville announces he is heading back to his room, and the butler respectfully agrees. Alone, Ludville reflects on Camilla's smile and the fact that she called him brother for the first time. A faint, almost imperceptible smile touches Ludville's lips. The scene shifts to a formal dinner with the Duke, Ludville, Ravi, and Camilla seated at a long table. Camilla glares at her family, thinking that she now has to walk on eggshells and will get a stomachache. Clatter. She firmly places her plate of steak down. Ludville gives her a sharp, sideways glance. Ravi suddenly takes her plate, announcing he'll trade dishes with her, leaving Camilla utterly baffled. Unfazed, Ludville begins to calmly slice the steak that was originally Camilla's. Ravi cheerfully tries to engage his father in conversation, while Camilla looks annoyed. The Duke apologizes to Ravi, admitting he should have shown more interest in his life. Camilla is shocked, realizing the Duke is finally paying attention to Ravi instead of only Ludville. The Duke then turns his attention to Camilla, who politely answers him. He offers her a warm, fatherly smile. Camilla is visibly startled as he remembers she is a student currently on spring vacation. He asks if she is sure about her major, but she laughs nervously and promises to work hard. Camilla lets out a weary sigh at the dinner table. She thinks to herself that there are more people she'd rather not get involved with. Her thoughts trail off, identifying at least two dangerous figures, represented by silhouettes. As Camilla clutches her aching head, the Duke mentions new chocolates that pair well with tea. Looking puzzled, Camilla asks about the withered state of the mist flowers. Ravi reassures her he'll bring more flowers, earning a mischievous chibi smile from Camilla. Ravi leans close to whisper, asking if she understands the hidden meaning of his words, but she feigns innocence. Camilla wonders about the meaning behind the chocolate and tea, realizing she was late with the mist flowers because she gave them to Ludville first. As cute chibi figures, they dismiss the thought as unimportant. Ravi smiles, realizing his father initiated tea time for the first time and must have grown fond of Camilla. Ravi looks utterly baffled, a loading symbol spinning over his head. In his study, Ludville pauses his writing and looks up, asking what is it. A silver-haired aide reports that he is organizing a list from the dessert shop. Ludville crosses out an item in his book, thinking that the child in question doesn't like apples. He continues to review the contents of the large, dark book. In a dark memory, a man's voice asks two maids how they took care of them as a plate of steak is shown. The Duke is revealed as the one questioning them. He informs the aide that he has ensured the people in question can no longer work for any noble family. Ludville's aide listens with a grave expression. The aide apologizes, but the Duke dismisses it, saying it wasn't his fault. The aide's thoughts drift to the matter of a divine beast. Holding a silver pendant, he thinks that once again, they fail to find it. The scene introduces the Foretells ducal family, known for their emblem of a white tiger. Other great houses are shown with their divine beasts, a dark wolf and a red eagle, while narration explains the previous Duke of Foretells was poisoned. The Duke muses that no one would dare ignore their family just because they lack a divine beast. Staring at the pendant, he laments its uselessness for 3 generations and wonders if they should finally give up. Ludville looks at his father with concern, calling out to him. The Duke slams his hands down, angrily refusing to give up while their rivals flaunt their divine beasts. He tells Ludville they must search more, and his son agrees. Elsewhere, Camilla clutches her stomach, complaining that she suddenly feels sick. A blue ghost of a butler with a monocle appears, calling her name, and she asks what's wrong. The ghost butler nervously says he has someone he wants her to meet. Mistaking his hesitation, Camilla mischievously begins to decline, flustering the ghost. Noticing his sudden seriousness, she realizes this must be an important ghost he wants to introduce. Camilla feigns a sudden illness, saying she'll head back, which sends the ghost butler into a panic. She feels guilty, but worries that helping one ghost will lead to an endless line of them. The ghost butler falls silent, looking dejected by her refusal. Waving goodbye, Camilla walks away, assuming he gives up easily. Suddenly, the ghost butler reappears right behind her, startling her with a shout of her name. The persistent ghost appears beside her bed, apologizing for waking her. He then interrupts her meal, again apologizing for the intrusion. The ghost butler desperately pleads with her to meet the person just once as she sits silently. Camilla mentally groans, realizing her mistake and wondering if the butler was always such a stubborn ghost. Fed up, Camilla finally snaps and yells for him to stop. The ghost butler clasps his hands together, his spectral form shining with hope. She finally relents, agreeing to go, and the ghost profusely thanks her. Camilla asks if the person is a haunt, a term the ghost butler doesn't understand. She explains a haunt is a ghost stuck in one place, and he confirms she is correct. Camilla then asks him to lead her to the location. The ghost butler smiles brightly, ready to guide her. The scene transitions to a sunny day with lush green trees. Now dressed in black mourning clothes, Camilla wonders why she's dead before recalling that ghosts avoid seeing their own remains. He leads her through a graveyard filled with wandering spirits, telling her they are getting close. Camilla notes the graveyard seems to be for esteemed figures, which is an honor but still unsettling. Following the ghost butler's directions, she walks deeper into the cemetery. The elegant tombstones indicate that the deceased were all people of high status. A brilliant flash of light pierces the sky above the trees. Camilla shields her eyes, complaining about the bright sun in the graveyard. The ghost butler announces their arrival at their destination. They stand before the tombstone of Herschel Sorfel, the 39th Duke. The ghost of the former Duke materializes, asking if she can truly see him. Camilla calmly confirms that she can both see and hear him. Relieved, the ghostly Duke smiles, saying he can finally see the end. He begins to state his reason for summoning her, but she interrupts with a question of her own. Camilla looks on with a serious, unwavering gaze. A formal title card introduces the ghost as Herschel Sorfel, the 39th head of the ducal family. He explains that it is the duty of the head to present the new divine beast, but he was poisoned and failed, forcing him to wait for this chance. Herschel passionately insists she is the only one who can find the divine beast and begs for her help. Stunned, Camilla can only exclaim, "Me!" The scene shifts, viewing Camilla from outside a window. Now back in her room, she calmly sips her tea. She internally debates the request, wondering what people would say if she suddenly found the long-lost beast. Clink. She puts her teacup down with a look of annoyance. She imagines being mobbed by people demanding to know how she found the divine beast. The thought continues as she pictures herself acting like a fortune teller and revealing the beast's egg is in a lake. With a weary sigh, she considers that finding it might significantly lower her chances of dying. The ghost butler reappears, warmly complimenting her beauty. Camilla smirks, playfully asking if he thought she wasn't beautiful before. Elsewhere on the grounds, two men spot Camilla from a distance. The red-haired man, introduced as Petro Javelin, wonders why she is there on his mother's Remembrance Day. His brown-haired companion suggests she might not have seen them from so far away. He insists she'd have run over instantly for Petro, while Camilla suffers a headache, cheered on by her ghost butler. Petro chides his friend for being rude, but the friend claims he's just being truthful about Petro's kindness. The friend reminds Petro of a time Camilla supposedly stole from him, though Petro clarifies she just found what he'd lost. Petro continues to watch her, mesmerized, thinking she looks different today. Announcing he's leaving, Petro walks away as his friend calls his name. He departs with a faint, thoughtful smile. He thinks her name, Camilla Sorfel, and questions her presence one last time. That night, Camilla wakes up thirsty, her mind still on retrieving an item from underwater. Clank. She lifts the lid of her teapot to find it empty. Deciding not to wake her maid Donna, she resolves to get water herself. As she walks down the dark hall, she stops, startled by something ahead. She sees a bright light from under the kitchen door and wonders who's inside. A chibi version of herself decides her curiosity must be satisfied. Her red eyes widen in surprise at what she sees. Inside, her brother Robbie is casually eating a late-night meal while reading a document. She calls out to him, and he looks up, surprised to see her. He asks why she's up so late, and she explains she came for a drink. She chides him for not having a servant bring him food, but he reminds her of the late hour. Ravi falls silent, looking away. With a sly grin, Camilla pulls up a chair, telling him to keep eating because she loves watching mukbang. An annoyed chibi, Ravi tells her to do as she pleases while she giggles. He takes another bite, thinking to himself that the food is quite good. He continues to eat thoughtfully. Ravi tells a drowsy Camilla to go to bed if she's sleepy, but she denies it with her eyes closed. He quietly asks his sleeping sister if she is awake. Ravi stares down at Camilla, thinking he cannot believe this situation. He stands over her, his thoughts trailing off with reluctance. Seeing her shiver, Ravi wonders aloud if the kitchen is too cold. A voice from the doorway tells Ravi to finish his meal, startling him. The silver-haired Ludville stands coolly in the entrance, observing the scene. Ludville offers to take Camilla back, but Ravi quickly insists he will do it. A hand firmly grips an arm as someone says it is all right. Ludville holds the sleeping Camilla in his arms, stating he is enough. He carries her away from the kitchen table. Stunned, Ravi calls out to Ludville, questioning his brother's actions. Ludville hushes Ravi to avoid waking Camilla, leaving Ravi to wonder why his brother is suddenly so caring. Ravi shouts after his brother, demanding to know why he is doing this. Ludville calmly tells Ravi to lower his voice, while Ravi internally fumes over his brother's protective behavior toward Camilla. The next morning, Camilla wakes in her bed, confused about when she fell asleep. Sitting up, she wonders how she even got back to her room. She has a sudden realization, recalling Ravi eating his late-night meal. Blushing, Camilla concludes Ravi carried her back and feels mortified for being a nuisance. She thoughtfully considers the previous night's events. Camilla sits alone in her room, lost in thought. A fleeting memory surfaces of a hand desperately clutching a shirt, pleading to live. The dream continues as she begs Ludville not to kill her. In her memory, she weakly agrees to his terms. Camilla recalls the unsettlingly bright smile she gave him in that moment. A small icon shows her cringing at the memory. Covering her face, she laments how dumb she was for smiling and crying in a mere dream. Later, Camilla cheerfully calls out to her brother Ravi in a sing-song voice. Annoyed, Ravi asks her to speak normally, but she playfully insists she already is. Camilla privately admits she's being nice to hide her embarrassment from last night. She teases him that he must have learned his sister is lighter than he thought, leaving him confused. She continues her teasing, asking if he was surprised by how light she was when he carried her. Ravi glares at her silently until she relents, telling him she'll stop. The atmosphere shifts as Ludville appears, looking stoic. Camilla internally frets over his awkward morning appearance, but steels herself to act friendly for survival. She puts on a brilliant smile, greeting him sweetly as "Brother dearest." Camilla stands cheerfully between her two brothers, Ravi and Ludville. While smiling outwardly, her inner voice impatiently urges Ludville to respond. Ludville's eye twitches, and Camilla mentally cheers that she got a reaction. Startled by Ravi, Camilla asks what he means by discrimination. Ravi angrily complains that she speaks informally to him, but uses a high honorific for Ludville. A chibi Camilla sighs at his immaturity while he complains. She just calls him, "Hey you." She asks why he's stating the obvious, and he snaps back that it's clear she only respects Ludville. Ravi stares intently, his feelings of being slighted clear. The focus shifts to the intricate details of his formal attire. Ravi looks shocked, while an annoyed Camilla wonders why he's surprised she respects Ludville more. He lets out a quiet sigh, seemingly processing her words. A sly grin spreads across Ravi's face as he comes to a sudden realization. Camilla demands to know why he's laughing, but he simply says it's nothing. She gives a suspicious side-eye, puzzled by his sudden change in demeanor. As Ravi smirks triumphantly beside a stone-faced Ludville, Camilla wonders what's gotten into him now. The Sorfel family gathers for a tense mealtime. The patriarch sits in distress, a heavy mood upon him. Haha. Camilla cheerfully notes the men's foul moods, asking her father the cause. Her father dreads a visitor's arrival, and Camilla asks who it is. Ah. Camilla suddenly realizes who the unwelcome guest might be. It is his rival, the esteemed Duke Javelin. He adds that Petro is also coming, which surprises Camilla. Ludville and his father exchange a silent, questioning look. Ravi glances at Camilla, who understands the reason for their scrutiny. She recalls academia, remembering Petro is someone she'd rather avoid. A memory surfaces of an encounter with Petro. He had coolly informed her he already had a partner. Mortified, Camilla had pretended it was no big deal. Dejected, she had walked away, trying to convince herself it was all right. A blue-haired girl then appeared on Petro's arm, greeting Camilla with a sneer. Flustered, Camilla returns the greeting, recognizing Juella as his partner. Juella leans in, ready to share some malicious gossip. She smugly reveals she heard that Camilla was rejected by Petro. Camilla tries to save face, but Juella cruelly reveals he was available just days prior. As Camilla reels from the lie, Juella taunts her as a fake daughter. Juella's cold gaze reflects Camilla's utter humiliation. The cruel words, "You're just a fake lady," strike Camilla hard. Juella's taunts about being a fake daughter echo in Camilla's memory. Her cruel words leave Camilla stunned and speechless. Kya! Camilla snaps, grabbing Juella in a fit of rage. Back in the present, she laments that her outburst was dismissed as her usual wild behavior. Her father expresses concern, but she tells him not to worry. She picks up a sandwich, declaring her feelings for Petro are gone. She insists she has moved on, and they shouldn't worry. With a serene smile, she appears to have found her peace. The men look emotional as she clarifies it was the original Camilla who loved him. Her father remains doubtful, and she sighs, knowing they don't believe her. She admits their doubt is justified, given her past obsessive behavior. Her father grumbles, certain the Duke is only visiting to show off his divine beast. Hearing this, she resolves that she must find the divine beast. Her sigh catches their attention, and she feigns ignorance. Her father asks if she is worried about something. She brightly deflects, claiming she was just mirroring his own upset mood. Her father's touched by her concern, while Ravi is stunned. Haha. He encourages her to eat, and they share a warm moment. A sense of calm returns to the family dining table. A chef presents a special dessert, a specific request from Camilla. He curiously examines the unusual gray dessert she ordered. She cheekily explains it's for his hair, hinting at preventing hair loss. Confused, he questions the connection between genetics and hair volume. While Camilla wonders, Ludwig quietly eats his toast. The day continues peacefully at the Grand Ducal estate. Duke Javelin arrives, warmly greeting the family and complimenting Ludwig. He teases his rival, who curtly dismisses the flattery and invites him inside. The friendly banter fades as they prepare to talk business. Petro and Camilla stand together in formal silence. Duke Javelin observes them with a dismissive glance. He turns, formally inviting them to head inside. Camilla's father fumes internally, knowing Duke Javelin only values bloodline and sees them as nothing more than outsiders. He worries the Duke resents Camilla's interest in Petro, but a chibi Camilla scoffs, wanting nothing to do with him. A familiar voice calls out to her, saying it's been a while. Her eyes widen as she turns to face the speaker. She sees his handsome face and understands why the original Camilla fell for him. With a practiced smile, she greets Lord Petro, privately despising how he enjoys leading others on. Petro confirms this is their first meeting since the party. He apologizes for his inaction then, but she coolly accepts. Petro then requests a tour of their beautiful garden. Camilla pleasantly agrees, praising her own garden. As her family watches from a distance, Petro sees she understands his intentions. Turning away, she decisively ends the conversation. A sly, determined smirk crosses her face as she walks away. An attendant asks Petro if they should follow her to the garden. Petro watches her go, his expression unreadable. Camilla confidently walks away with Ludwig at her side. Petro and his attendant are left behind, watching them depart. A frustrated laugh escapes Petro as he runs a hand through his hair. The scene shifts to a formal sitting room. Duke Javelin smugly asks if the Sorfels have found their divine beast yet, but her father demands to know his real purpose here. The Duke claims it is business. The Duke offers to investigate the strange minerals from their new mine with his trading company. He offers to help determine the minerals' use and sell it for them, but Camilla's father curtly refuses. The Duke argues he has better connections, but her father remains resolute, refusing to involve him. Just then, Camilla announces she's brought refreshments, and her father eagerly invites her in. With a tray of tea, Camilla enters with a warm smile. She serves the men a new, relaxing tea, mentioning her father's recent trouble sleeping. Duke Javelin inwardly scolds her for acting so familiar, especially in front of others. Touched, her father thanks her and asks her to join them. Camilla is momentarily stunned by the unexpected invitation. Her father pats the seat beside him, insisting she join him, as Duke Javelin looks on silently. She notices Duke Javelin's clear displeasure at their affectionate display, but her eyes fix on something else entirely. Pop! A tiny red bird suddenly materializes on Duke Javelin's shoulder, shocking him. She stares intently, her suspicion growing. While the two men argue, she realizes she's the only one who can see the strange bird. Her father lifts his cup to take a sip. He compliments the delicious tea, much to Camilla's delight. She mentally gives a thumbs up to their top butler, Darren, for his masterful brew. She turns her attention back to Duke Javelin and the bird on his shoulder. With a pleasant smile, she offers him a cup of tea. He reluctantly accepts her offer. As a chibi version of the Duke sips the tea, Camilla eagerly awaits his reaction. The little red bird watches from his shoulder. Suddenly, Camilla's eyes fly open in shock. An awkward silence settles over the tea table. She realizes she can hear the divine beast's voice, which tells her she has a very clear soul. Whoosh! The bird erupts in a burst of magical flames. Duke Javelin looks on in shock as his divine beast transforms into a magnificent fiery phoenix. A chibi Camilla observes the bird, wondering about its name Jetty and how it appears like a ghost only for the clan leader. Camilla's father irritably asks Duke Javelin why he summoned the divine beast, but the Duke casually says he just wanted to see it. As her father worries about the estate being burned down, the Duke admires the beast's beauty. Camilla internally calls the Duke a bully, while the little red bird on his shoulder stares intensely. Whoosh! The massive phoenix swoops down towards Camilla and Ludwig. As fiery feathers rain down, a bewildered Camilla looks up at the approaching bird. Duke Javelin asks, "What?" looking flustered as the bird flies past him. The small red bird lands directly in Camilla's lap, stunning her and her brothers. Duke Javelin clears his throat, awkwardly calling for his divine beast, Jetty, to return. The bird defiantly turns its back on him. The Duke angrily demands G return, but the bird thinks to itself, "I don't want to." Snuggling into her lap, the divine beast senses Camilla's pure, newborn-like soul and decides it likes it here. As the Duke wonders what's happening, Jetty affectionately rubs against Camilla, thinking how much it likes this child. Camilla smiles graciously, apologizing and noting her strange popularity with such creatures. Her father laughs, teasing Duke Javelin that his own divine beast prefers his daughter. Duke Javelin fumes, insisting Jetty listens to him more than anyone else. He furiously demands Jetty come back, but the bird stays put. A defeated Duke Javelin mutters his beast's name while Camilla giggles, unsure what to do. A few days later, the scene shifts to a grand, sprawling academy. An attendant voices her concern, suggesting Camilla change her major, but Camilla confidently insists she'll be back. The purple-haired attendant watches her go, wondering what Camilla is always so worried about. Acknowledging Camilla's isolation, the attendant understands her worries as Camilla waves farewell with a determined smile. A swordsmanship instructor shouts at a student to stand up straight. The emblem of two crossed swords gleams. The scene introduces the prestigious swordsmanship department. The narration explains the Sorful family's renowned for swordsmanship, boasting 2 swordmasters. Camilla strides through the training grounds, determined to choose this path to prove she belongs to the family. A chibi version of her size, calling herself stubborn for making a choice better suited for someone with talent. She sits alone on a bench, the narrator musing that this path might have been her last resort. Though it was Camilla's choice, the narration concludes that the family will keep her options open for a return. Sitting on the bench, Camilla decides she should probably take a nap. She spots a large, shady tree, thinking it's a perfect spot, but notices a glowing blue figure standing beneath it. Realizing the glowing figure is a ghost with a sword through its chest, she's startled. She quickly averts her gaze, deciding it's best not to make eye contact with the spirit. Anxiously, she looks around for another shady spot to rest. A wide view of the grounds reveals there is only one shady tree available. Frustrated, she exclaims, "This sucks," and turns away from 2 watching students. The glowing blue ghost remains by the tree, unaware of her presence. She gives up and drops to the ground beneath the tree anyway. Lying in the grass, she feels relieved the ghost isn't looking at her and resolves to ignore it. From a distance, Ravi and another student spot her, wondering if it's really Lady Camilla. The other student questions if it's the same Camilla, recalling a memory of her looking flustered. Ravi watches her with a small smile, noting that she seems like a different person. The silent blue ghost continues to stand under the tree, looking away. Camilla sleeps soundly in the shade. The student next to Ravi remarks that she must be out of her mind to nap during class. Ravi simply watches her with a gentle, amused expression. He tells his friends to let her be and return to class, while one insists she seems completely changed. The remaining student looks back in disbelief, muttering his shock. The dark-haired man asks in disbelief, "Damn, are you saying that to me?" A terrified student calls him Arshan Sepra and quickly apologizes. Arshan smirks, stating he won't be apologizing either. Narration reveals Arshan Sepra is the magically and physically gifted heir to a powerful wizard family. That was humanity. The cycle of beating and healing made witnesses believe he was insane. A red-haired student steps between them, trying to de-escalate the fight. He cheerfully suggests Arshan let it go after receiving an apology. Arshan condescendingly asks the redhead if he's a clown. Arshan threatens him, but the redhead surprisingly admits he's curious to find out. As the redhead tries to end it, Arshan defiantly asks what if he refuses. The redhead powers up as Arshan throws a punch, warning him not to speak his name. Another student yells at them to stop as Arshan scoffs in annoyance. Arshan coldly tells the redhead to stay out of his sight. The scene shifts to Camilla sleeping, as an unseen observer finds her behavior suspicious. The scene transitions to the magnificent academy. Camilla sees more blue ghosts trailing after students on the academy grounds. She spots even more spirits floating down the hallways. Surrounded by ghosts in class, she wonders if the entire school is haunted. Deciding a nap is the best solution, she's interrupted by someone calling her name. The professor scolds her, sarcastically noting her lack of interest in the class. Narration reveals the professor targets Camilla to feel superior, despite her family's status. Camilla internally fumes, wondering why the professor singled her out among other sleeping students. She glances around, confirming that other students are also sleeping. The professor challenges her, asking if her napping is a sign of confidence in solving the problems. She smugly invites Camilla to the front to prove her knowledge. Camilla coolly dismisses the professor's challenge as childish. She recalls her determination not to use being an orphan as an excuse for failure. Remembering her past life, she recalls balancing a demanding entertainment career with her studies. At the blackboard, she recalls having studied this material for 20 years, ready for the challenge. Tap, tap, tap. She snatches the chalk from the stunned professor, having already solved these problems countless times. With a triumphant smile, she coolly asks if she can sleep now. The professor is left speechless, utterly shocked by Camilla's performance. Later, Camilla's carriage departs from the academy. Exhausted, she complains her day was as draining as filming 3 dramas, especially with all the ghosts. The soft carriage ride makes her feel sleepy on the way home. She arrives home and steps out of the carriage. Yawning, she remarks on how well she slept during the ride. Suddenly, her eyes fly open in surprise. She takes a moment to appreciate the beautiful sunset. Despite her difficult situation, she finds solace in the beautiful sky. A voice calls her name, catching her by surprise. It's her father, waiting for her return. She approaches her father and his attendant in the courtyard. She's touched, realizing he came out just to greet her, an ordinary gesture she's never experienced. A memory of her lonely past highlights why this moment is so meaningful. Overwhelmed by emotion, a tear streams down her face. Her father, concerned, asks why she is crying. He quickly moves to support her as she stumbles. She remembers her past was always greeted by cold darkness. This was true both at home and in the orphanage. She recalls the persistent loneliness of her past life. Even when her mother died, she faced it alone. She didn't shed a tear when her father fought over money. But now, in her father's embrace, the tears finally fall. For the first time, she speaks words she's never said before. Her father looks on, stunned by her sudden vulnerability. He gently pats her head, welcoming her home as she confesses her difficult day. Later, she punches her pillow, mortified by her own outburst. She cringes, remembering Ludville and Ravi witnessed her crying. Suddenly, her stomach growls and she realizes she's hungry. Determined not to starve, she resolves to go find food. Creak, she slowly opens her bedroom door. She looks up, confused by what she sees. Her brother, Ravi, is standing silently in the hallway. He watches her with a serious, unreadable expression. She blushes slightly under his gaze. She playfully calls herself a pretty slug, asking Ravi where her confidence comes from, then suggests it's her face, which flusters him. Seeing his pained expression, she promises to stop joking. Sigh. Ravi lets out a deep breath, adjusting his bow tie. Clang. He suddenly tosses a golden bracelet to her. She examines the bracelet as he simply tells her to throw it. He explains she should throw it at someone she dislikes. He reveals it's a magic bracelet that binds opponents, telling her to use it instead of crying. She wonders if he thinks she's being bullied at the academy. A warm, knowing smile spreads across her face. She asks if using it will hurt her reputation, but Ravi bluntly says she has no reputation left to lose anyway. The scene shifts back to the magnificent Fabler Academy. As time passes, a single petal drifts onto the lake's surface. A ghostly attendant insists the water is warm, but Camilla thinks it's still cold. The ghost comically puts on snorkel gear to prove his point. Standing by the water, Camilla admits she has no more excuses to delay. Narration introduces the beautiful and symbolic Lake of the Spirit. She reaches toward the water, where a divine beast's egg is said to be sleeping. She recalls her brother Ludville searching the same lake for a divine beast. It's cold? She yanks her hand back, accusing the ghost of lying. The ghost says Lord Herschel is waiting, but she tells him to wait longer. She decides to postpone her task until the water gets warmer. Scolding him for his constant lies, she watches the ghost wilt in agreement. As she leaves, the ghost reminds her that Lord Herschel is waiting desperately. She hesitates, admitting the lake looks deep, but the ghost reassures her. He brightly claims to have already located the divine beast's egg. With sparkling eyes, the ghost excitedly tells her to just follow him. Camilla sighs, unimpressed by his over-eager attitude. Nearby, she overhears a man trying to convince a reluctant woman. Confused, she wonders what the couple is talking about. The man suggests tea, but the blonde woman internally cringes at his old-fashioned line. After she declines his offer, he angrily questions how she dares refuse him, given his family's status. He aggressively grabs her arm, demanding she come with him. A voice suggests the problem is him, not his family, leaving the green-haired man stunned. Camilla scathingly insults his intelligence, clarifying that the girl dislikes him personally. He sarcastically asks if he should thank her for the recognition. Questioning if she's alone, he receives a defiant, "So what?" from Camilla. He smirks, privately sneering that they are both idiots who don't know their place. He orders her to leave, but she coolly retorts that he should worry about himself. Camilla reveals his status as the 20-year-old, uncultured son of a concubine. Camilla exposes his past crime of kidnapping and assault, horrifying the blonde girl. Darren's ghost explains a massive cover-up and another incident involving a baron's daughter. She calls him garbage, and he panics, demanding to know how she found out. As Darren rages about the man's trashiness, the target wonders how a butler knows so much. His expression darkens as he utters a menacing "hey." With a sudden thwack, he grabs her collar, demanding to know how she knows. He threatens her, implying consequences for knowing his secrets as the blonde girl watches in fear. A mysterious voice questions if the situation isn't strange. He menacingly wonders why his past victim stayed silent, implying she'll be no different. The blonde girl screams for him to stop, defending Camilla's innocence. Camilla is disgusted, thinking how someone could be so utterly rotten. Realizing they're alone, she contemplates her next move, having no reputation to lose. With a wish, she activates a glowing bracelet, sending it flying from her wrist. The magical bracelet binds him tightly as he screams in shock to be released. Wah! He's suddenly yanked into the air as the two girls watch from below. A man explains the item is a magic binding bracelet, instructing someone to just throw it. Camilla smiles triumphantly, while her captive continues to demand his freedom. She threatens to drop him if he doesn't quiet down, eliciting a terrified eek. She muses that he doesn't want to die, as he panics at the thought of falling. She realizes she was never told how to release the magic bracelet. A voice calls out for Jude, revealing they came to check on Camilla. Two men appear, questioning Jude about not being alone, much to his annoyance. Still bound but spotting his friends, Jude grins and yells for help. One of the accomplices grabs Camilla, shouting for the others to capture her. Realizing Jude has accomplices, one of the men tells his companion to stay still. She nervously wonders if she can safely escape by running away. Startled, Camilla looks up to find a mysterious hooded figure behind her. The hooded figure is a white-haired man whom she recognizes as brother? The white-haired man questions her presence, but she claims to be just passing by. He finds her excuse strange given the remote location, and she falls silent. He grabs her arm, causing a magical symbol on her dress to glow. He seriously brings up the reason she had cried earlier. Confused by his sudden comment, Camilla wonders why he's mentioning it now. Deciding to play along, she simply nods in agreement. He sees her nod and quietly acknowledges it with a simple yes. Hearing his response, Camilla breaks into a bright, genuine smile. The white-haired man steps forward, telling Camilla to stay back as he faces the others. Smirking, she thinks the men are doomed and feels relieved. Ludville arrived just in time. The blonde girl timidly approaches, trying to get their attention. As Camilla departs, the grateful blonde girl thanks her from the ground. The girl apologizes for the trouble, and Camilla looks closer, concerned. Surrounded by a floral glow, the blonde girl offers a radiant, heartfelt smile. Her business concluded, Camilla walks away, leaving the girl in the garden. Narration reveals a woman was the only one to ever approach the shunned Camilla. Despite the woman, Layla, being kind, Camilla hated her and angrily told her to go away. Camilla's bitter jealousy surfaces, questioning why only Layla is loved when they were both adopted. Blinded by jealousy, Camilla once tried to kidnap and kill Layla, but was stopped by a man's voice. A younger, horrified Camilla looks up and stammers, "F.A., father." Her father coldly tells her she has crossed the line as the other child cries for help. Back in the present, Camilla realizes that her kidnapping attempt was when the entire Duke's family turned against her. The blonde woman from before approaches, recognizing Camilla, who internally recalls this is Layla. Camilla looks up seriously and begins to excuse herself. A hand is extended toward her. Layla smiles brightly, offering a hand and asking if she plans to stay on the ground. Camilla leads Layla away, warning her about following strange men, but Layla denies it. Confused, Camilla stops and asks what she was doing then. Layla clarifies she was following Camilla, worried she was heading into the forest alone. Surprised by the concern, Camilla asks if Layla knows who she is. Layla enthusiastically confirms, explaining that everyone talks about Lady Camilla. She reveals that people gossip about every detail of Camilla's appearance, from her clothes to her hair. As Layla chatters on, Camilla sighs, aware that she has been attracting a lot of attention lately. Layla happily admits that all the talk made her really want to meet Camilla. In a cute chibi-style drawing, Layla shyly asks about meeting her, and Camilla confirms with a heart. Camilla recognizes Layla's starstruck gaze, finding it familiar to how new actors once looked at her. Layla excitedly grabs both of Camilla's hands. The two stand together holding hands as Layla beams with joy. Layla enthusiastically declares that she'll be by Camilla's side from now on. Camilla is startled and confused by the sudden proclamation. In a moment of shock, she wonders why Layla is seeking out Camilla in the first place. Camilla stands stiffly as a blushing Layla stays close by her side. A silver-haired man arrives, addressing someone as brother dearest as other students bow behind him. Camilla recognizes the swordmaster's swift work, noting he took care of Jude as well. The silver-haired man, Ludville, holds up a broken golden bracelet. Camilla cheerfully takes the broken item, deciding to ask her brother Ravi to fix it. Ludville confirms with her that Ravi was the one who gave her the bracelet. He questions why Ravi would give it to her, but Camilla admits she doesn't know either. With a knowing smile, she suggests it's because he wants to care for her as a sister. Snap. To her shock, Ludville crushes the broken bracelet in his hand. Stunned into silence, Camilla can only stare as he walks away. She internally screams in frustration, demanding to know why he broke her bracelet. That night, Camilla lies in bed, finding the day's events strange. She thinks about Ludville, recalling that he's uninterested in anyone and should be obsessed with Layla. A memory surfaces of two people she has seen over and over in her dreams. In her dream, Ludville and Layla share a powerful, instant attraction upon their first meeting. Her dream continues, showing how Ravi and another man, Petro, joined in to create a complicated love story. She realizes their fated meeting was supposed to be at the market, not the lake, altering the timeline. A chibi Camilla tosses and turns, troubled by the changes to the story. A ghostly voice urges her to wake up. Still groggy, Camilla mutters for the voice to go away. Her eyes snap open as the voice insists that it's time to wake up. She sits up, startled to see the glowing blue ghost of Lord Herschel waving to her. She asks how he got into her room, wondering how a ghost bound to one place can suddenly move freely. He explains his body suddenly felt lighter, prompting her to wonder if ghosts even have weight. Lord Herschel asks Camilla when she'll get the divine beast's egg, but she claims it's not that simple, frustrating him. Herschel argues that the divine beast's egg shouldn't be left alone for so long, and his ghostly attendant eagerly agrees. A distraught Camilla says this is her family's lifelong regret, so the attendant promises to find the egg immediately, surprising Herschel. Camilla explains to the ghosts that she needs to prepare something first, piquing their curiosity. She thoughtfully considers her next move as the two ghosts look on, confused. A spark of an idea crosses her mind. A purple-haired maid with glasses is startled by a sudden noise. Bang! The maid frantically pounds on a door, yelling for her lady. Two maids rush toward a collapsed Camilla, desperately asking what happened to her. The purple-haired maid comforts a trembling Camilla, while the ghosts look on, bewildered. Camilla's father rushes into the room, calling her name in alarm. Crying, she looks up and weakly calls out to her father. He kneels beside her, urgently asking what's wrong as she begins to tell him about her dream. She tearfully explains she dreamed he was trapped in a fire and couldn't escape. A young man with brown hair wonders what she's doing, realizing he ran out to her without thinking. She asks her father if he came to help because she was in a fire, and he apologizes, looking upset. Camilla internally admits she had another reason for her loud scream. Narration reveals a textile factory is destined to burn down a week after Layla's transfer. Camilla sits in quiet contemplation, formulating her plan. An attendant bursts in with ill news, and Camilla's father asks what happened. The attendant reports a large fire at a textile factory, but confirms there were no casualties, though the factory will be shut down. Her father decides to discuss the matter further in his office, walking away with the attendant. The maids whisper about the strange coincidence between their lady's premonition and the factory fire. Camilla looks on coolly, feigning that it's merely a coincidence. A cunning smile plays on her lips. A carriage makes its way down a country path. In the carriage, Camilla tells the ghosts her plan involves using bait, which confuses them. She questions what people would think if she suddenly found the egg, and Herschel insists they'd rejoice. She points out that they'd question how she knew where to find it, especially if she credited a ghost. She concludes they would simply think the Duke's daughter had lost her mind, making Herschel pause. The other ghost agrees with her assessment. Smiling slyly, Camilla declares this is why they need to sprinkle more bait. As they arrive in a town, the ghosts ask why they've stopped, and she explains she's buying ingredients. Lord Herschel watches her, deep in thought. The ghosts ask how she knew about the fire, but she playfully dodges the question, claiming she's busy. The scene shifts to a large, stately mansion. Two men walk down a grand hallway, discussing the factory fire and the lack of casualties. The man in the ornate brown coat stops, a look of realization on his face. Camilla appears before him amidst a backdrop of flowers, offering a warm greeting. She greets Count Shayun, who confirms he's there about the factory. She tells him not to worry and asks if he has heard a certain saying. With a confident smile, she reminds him that blessing and misfortune always come together. Her knowing smile shines as she speaks of blessings and misfortunes. She presents him with a wrapped yellow gift box. Count Shailun looks at the gift in confusion, asking what it is. She cheerfully tells him that it's a blessing. He asks for permission to open it, which she readily grants. Two maids gossip, revealing that Lady Camilla gifted Count Shailun baby shoes. A close-up shows a pair of adorable, floral-patterned baby girl's shoes. One maid speculates that, since Camilla gifted baby girl shoes, the Count's baby will be a girl. A maid recounts how Lady Camilla identified a bad business partner. Her insight saved the Viscount from being scammed. The maids gossip, speculating that Camilla also foresaw the head maid's family tragedy. One maid smiles, convinced Camilla's premonition about the fire was real. Another maid gushes that Lady Camilla is even better than the capital's famous fortune teller. In his study, Camilla's father summons her for a private conversation. He asks about the rumors, wondering if she truly has dreams of foresight. Camilla plays coy, admitting she sometimes sees things in her dreams or when looking at people. He worries about her health, but she reassures him it's nothing to be concerned about. Her expression suddenly turns serious as she prepares to change the subject. She mentions having the same dream again, causing her father to ask in alarm if it's a nightmare. He decides to investigate her premonition before revealing its meaning to her. She reassures him it's not dangerous, privately smiling that her plan is succeeding. At a tranquil lake with the ghosts, Camilla admits she's not a strong swimmer but trusts her guides. She nervously asks if the lake is deep, but Lord Herschel confidently encourages her to trust him. Lord Herschel enthusiastically declares he'll go in first to lead the way. Stepping into the lake, Camilla gasps at how cold the water is. Ugh. Submerged, she finds the freezing water to be surprisingly clear. Lord Herschel excitedly points out the divine beast's egg, and she confirms she's got it. She gracefully swims deeper into the sunlit water toward her goal. She wonders if the glowing, glass-like ball at the bottom is the egg. Reaching out, she retrieves the beautiful object from the lake bed. Ugh. Running out of air, she realizes she must hurry back to the surface. Suddenly, her maid Donna appears underwater, calling her name in shock. Donna pulls a seemingly unconscious Camilla from the water, begging her not to die. Ugh. The maid gasps for air, having exhausted herself in the rescue. The two lie collapsed on the grass beside the tranquil lake. Camilla coughs, annoyed that her maid's interference caused her to pass out. Triumphant, she holds up the glowing divine beast's egg. Her maid panics, asking what she was thinking, while Camilla glares back, annoyed. The crying maid asks why she jumped in the lake, accusing her of trying to die. A mysterious voice warns that if she dies this time, it's the end for good. Huh? A tearful Camilla questions the meaning of this time. The voice clarifies that she cannot return to the past as she did before. The revelation leaves Camilla stunned and speechless. Oh my! The other maids rush over frantically, asking if their lady is all right. A dark, ornate cloak is gently placed over her soaked shoulders. Her brother Ravi puts the cloak on her, asking if they caused this trouble again. Camilla simply looks down, lost in thought and unable to answer. She quietly tells her brother that she's going to her room to rest. Ravi watches her walk away, his expression filled with deep concern. As Camilla walks away, the two ghosts reappear, calling out to her with worry. The ghostly duo looks on, their faces etched with concern for her. Camilla coldly warns the ghosts that if they pry, she will never speak to them again. The ghosts reluctantly agree, understanding her need for privacy. Alone in her room, Camilla sits with a determined and serious expression. Noticing her maid hesitating at the door, Camilla tells her to come in. The maid offers tea, but Camilla curtly dismisses her, demanding to know who she really is. Donna introduces herself with a laugh, only for Camilla to coldly ask, "Do you want to die?" Camilla leans back, arms crossed, fixing her maid with an intimidating stare. She thinks about her mysterious arrival in this world and her current predicament. Her thoughts conclude with a direct question, demanding to know what her maid is hiding. Donna laughs off the question, but Camilla coldly threatens her life. Camilla directly accuses her maid of knowing the truth behind her circumstances. Cornered, the purple-haired maid agrees to reveal everything. She confesses that she was, until recently, a sole caretaker. Camilla questions her change in status, and the maid admits she was forced out for making a mistake. Flustered, she confesses to incorrectly inserting two souls. Camilla is shocked by the revelation that souls can be inserted incorrectly. As Camilla grasps the implication, the maid compliments her for understanding so quickly. Camilla questions what happens if the misalignment is just ignored. The maid explains that mismatched souls are rejected by their families, unable to receive affection. An enraged smile spreads across Camilla's face as the truth sinks in. The maid confirms Lady Camilla and Miss Cialee's souls were switched, but Camilla angrily cuts her off. She realizes the abuse she suffered was because her family sensed she wasn't their real daughter. A painful memory surfaces of being dragged away while crying out for her father. A chibi Camilla brandishes a slipper menacingly, questioning its sudden appearance. Furious, Camilla grabs her and demands to know why she didn't fix her mistake sooner. The maid gravely explains that removing a settled soul is difficult, especially across two different universes. She reveals the only way to fix it was for the two souls to sense each other's presence, which Camilla realizes the other girl was also trying to do. The maid confirms that the original Camilla was also watching Cialee, just as Cialee was watching her. Camilla processes the stunning revelation that this world is where she truly belongs. She asks for confirmation that she can never return to her original universe, which the maid confirms. When Camilla asks if death is now final, the maid cheerfully confirms it. Alarmed, she asks if she died many times, and the maid reveals Lee was also killed repeatedly by Camilla's father. The horrible truth dawns on her. Her father, who she thought had just left, was actually her murderer. Panicked, she asks if the other girl might die again in her old life, and the maid confirms she knows the truth too. The maid explains that the original Camilla is now fighting to survive and remove threats in that other world. Camilla smirks, confident that her counterpart is well prepared to handle the danger. The maid reveals she was waiting for the perfect moment for them to finally connect. Camilla reflects on her original name, Lee, which now feels strangely distant. She angrily asks why it took so long, but the maid admits she has limited power and didn't expect the delay. The maid explains that the long cycle of death was finally broken when the original Camilla felt Lee's presence in her last moments. A gasp of realization escapes Camilla's lips. She understands that the ghost she saw was the real Lee, reaching out to her. The maid explains that their connection at that precise moment was the only way to break the cycle. As the maid proudly takes credit for the soul swap, Camilla erupts in anger at her smugness. Eek! Camilla raises her fist, restraining her urge to hit the maid, who recoils in fear. The maid smirks, tauntingly asking if Camilla is unhappy that she's a woman. Her question leaves Camilla utterly speechless and confused. Whoosh! The maid transforms into a tall man in a butler's uniform, introducing himself as Dorman, his true form. Camilla observes him in disbelief, while Dorman explains that his kind doesn't concern themselves with gender. He explains he chose a female form to better assist her, causing her to recoil at the memory of him helping her bathe. Dorman coolly dismisses her concern about gender, but she furiously tells him to shut it. He laments that since being forced out, his powers have weakened, and he can no longer see spirits, which surprises Camilla. She wonders if her ability to see ghosts is due to the soul switch, but he clarifies it's an innate power. Dorman theatrically proclaims his only path back to his job is for both her and Lee to live full lives. Camilla coldly reminds him that their repeated, horrific deaths are entirely his fault, a fact he quietly accepts. A tiny, furious Camilla demands to see Dorman's superior. She declares that a supervisor must take full responsibility for an employee's mistake. Dorman insists they're trying to fix it, but Camilla angrily demands to know what they've actually done. He explains they carefully allowed the two souls to sense each other without damaging their respective worlds. Unimpressed, she coldly states that his efforts are not her concern. Dorman explains that all they can offer her now are blessings and good luck. She raises an eyebrow, questioning what he means by blessing. She asks what her counterpart, the original Camilla, received as a blessing, and Dorman hesitates. He blushes and says it's embarrassing, leaving Camilla confused. Dorman proudly declares that his full support is her ultimate blessing. She deadpans, asking if he is her only benefit, and he enthusiastically agrees. Waha! An angry shout of, "Get out!" sends a slipper flying across the room. Phew! Camilla sits at her vanity, letting out a sigh of relief. She sarcastically wonders if she should be grateful that Dorman has been stuck observing her all this time. Fuming, she thinks that none of this would have happened if Dorman hadn't made his mistake. Calming down, she smiles, satisfied that she has safely retrieved the divine beast's egg. She sits contentedly at her vanity table. Camilla calls for Dorman's help as other maids remind him about his snacks. She looks utterly baffled by their casual acceptance of him. Dorman simply beams, surrounded by a floral aura. She asks him why everyone is acting so naturally about his gender change, and he begins to explain. He reveals a leftover power allows him to be accepted in any form, a fact she questions. She dismisses him, saying she doesn't need him constantly by her side to survive. She laments that if she had known the truth, she could have lived her previous life with hope, but Dorman claims it wasn't his place to tell her. He explains it's forbidden to reveal the truth before the souls are switched back, as unstable souls are fragile and can easily break. A chibi Dorman nervously offers to brew her some tea. Wah! She slaps him, calling him useless, and he cries out at her cruelty. Announcing her departure, Camilla turns to leave as a tiny doorman calls out to her. She walks briskly down a grand, sparkling hallway. Her expression is determined as she continues on her way. A black-haired butler turns, surprised to see her, and calls her Rube. Approaching the butler, she asks to see the Viscount, but he informs her Duke Javelin is visiting. She looks disappointed, thinking that she wanted to give him something while he was alone. The butler notices her damp hair, and she responds with a questioning, She touches her hair, realizing it's still wet from her trip to the lake. She casually explains she went for a swim, surprising the butler who questions her choice in this season. Ahem. She claims her body felt too hot, prompting the butler to turn off her fireplace. Rendered speechless, she blushes while the butler privately finds her behavior strange for someone who is usually cold. Ugh. She insists she was just looking for something, but he persists, asking what it was. A striking man with white hair and an elegant suit stands amidst an aura of blue flowers. The handsome man approaches her as she confirms to the butler that his guest is indeed present. She smiles awkwardly, deciding to just come back later. Startled, she sees a flash of red feathers appear right before her. Tap! A tiny red bird lands on her shoulder, greeting her as she cries out, Jetty? Jetty's voice notes that she's finally found it, as the pocket of her dress emits a faint glow. With Jetty on her shoulder, she muses that he knew about the egg because he's also a divine beast and that Duke Javelin hasn't summoned him yet. Entering her father's study, she's summoned to join him and another man with red hair. The red-haired man greets her with a warm smile, happy to see her again. She greets him in return, privately wondering why he's being so friendly all of a sudden. Stepping forward into the study, Camilla thinks how strange everything feels. Whoosh! A sudden surge of blue light surprises everyone in the room. Camilla covers her ear, wondering about the strange sound filling the air. The Viscount gasps as a brilliant blue light erupts from a pendant on his chest. A glowing pendant materializes in the Viscount's hand as he stares in wonder. The Viscount wonders if the divine beast's egg is nearby, while Camilla realizes his pendant is the key that awakens it. As her pocket glows, Camilla recalls that the pendant reacts to the egg, finally understanding the phenomenon. The butler Rube notices the light in Camilla's pocket with a worried expression. The Viscount asks if she has the divine beast's egg, and Camilla calmly confirms it. A friendly blue ghost appears, proudly congratulating Camilla, who dryly notes that he is, in fact, a ghost. The glowing divine egg floats gently from her open palm. The Viscount watches with an expression of pure, astonished joy as the egg floats toward him. A legend is recalled, the white tiger, divine beast of the Sostal family, whose cry deafens and whose step creates rivers of blood. In comical contrast, a fluffy white paw lands softly amidst sparkling stars. Tap! A tiny paw touches her shoulder, and Camilla turns in confusion. An adorable white tiger cub appears with a cute cue. The small tiger confidently pads across the room toward the Viscount. Surrounded by flowers, the divine beast lets out another charming cry. The Viscount's face softens with overwhelming relief as he whispers, "Finally." Camilla stares in disbelief, shocked that the legendary beast is just a tiny cub. The ghost spirit affectionately greets the newly awakened beast, while Camilla openly doubts its divine nature. The ghost reassures her that the beast is small only because it slept so long and will soon regain its power. The cute tiger cub sits serenely amidst pink flowers, its tail wagging. The cub happily leaps into Camilla's surprised arms. A beautiful array of flowers magically blooms at Camilla's feet as the cub settles in her arms. Wah! The tiger cub snuggles against her as the Viscount looks on, amused. A chibi Camilla tries to push the clingy cub away, telling it to leave. Ah, the squirming cub slips through her grasp. The Viscount laughs heartily at the comical sight of Camilla struggling with the affectionate beast. Jetty remarks that the cub must like her, but Camilla thinks it's not that simple. As the cub follows her, she wonders why the family's divine beast is attached to her instead of her father. She glances back, wondering what her father thinks of the situation. The Viscount watches with a warm, contented smile as the tiger cub struts proudly past him. The ghost explains that her father is happy because a century of humiliation has finally ended. Camilla looks down, contemplating the significance of the moment. As the ghost sighs in relief, the Viscount suddenly cries out Camilla's name in alarm. Camilla collapses to the floor, utterly exhausted. Dorman rushes to her bedside with medicine, but she weakly tells him to be quiet. The ghost watches over her sleep, wishing he could provide her with nourishment. Voices of concerned family and servants swirl around her, from the Viscount's frantic worry to his quiet plea for her to wake up. Lying in bed, Camilla hears a maid named Darren crying and silently tells her not to. Feeling a hand on her forehead, she wonders if it belongs to her brother, Ludville. Her brother Ravi threatens to break her bracelet again if she doesn't wake up, earning a rebuke for his rudeness. Camilla begins to stir, sensing a comforting warmth beside her. The source of the warmth is revealed. The tiny white tiger is snuggled asleep beside her under the covers. She sits up abruptly, holding the sleepy cub and questioning its presence in her bed. The white tiger cub affectionately nuzzles her hand. Holding the purring cub in her lap, she muses that it acts just like a cat. She sits quietly in bed, holding the divine beast and looking pensive. Dorman enters her room and clasps his hands in joy, exclaiming that she's finally awake. Whoosh! She calls out for him to wait, but he vanishes in an instant, leaving her to wonder where he went. A door bursts open as the Viscount rushes in, anxiously calling out, "Camilla!" He places a hand on her forehead, checking for a fever while she sits with the divine beast. Looking down at her, he admits he has a lot to ask. He worries about how thin her face has gotten in just a few days, leaving Camilla confused. Deciding her health comes first, he tells her to get some rest as he walks away. Camilla looks down at the calm white tiger cub in her lap. Her father observes that the divine beast doesn't seem to want to leave her side, much to her surprise. He explains that when they took the crying cub outside, it immediately found its way back to her room. He gently pats the divine beast, which remains nestled in Camilla's arms. The Viscount tells her to get some sleep, and Dorman, now dressed as a butler, presents her with medicine. As the cub purrs contentedly, Camilla internally frets that she doesn't like animals and has no idea what to do. A chibi Camilla holds the small cub, looking completely uncertain. Utterly overwhelmed, she declares she's going back to sleep and dives under the covers with the cub. Tucked in bed, she sleeps soundly as the tiny tiger cub curls up beside her. The morning sun shines brightly through her bedroom window. In his study, the Viscount sits at his desk, flanked by a stern-looking, silver-haired young man and a blonde-haired young man. Camilla enters the study, somberly acknowledging that they know she jumped into a lake to find the egg. Her father slams his desk and angrily demands to know how she could do something so foolish, but she simply says she saw it in a dream. She apologizes, explaining she made sure no one was around and therefore believes she brought no harm to the family. Her brother with silver hair tells her that's not the issue, while her other brother calls her an idiot for her reasoning. Camilla is confused, wondering if she wasn't being scolded for acting irresponsibly as a lady of the house. Her father sighs, sternly telling her not to act so recklessly in the future. She playfully whispers that it wasn't all that reckless, provoking an exasperated shout of Camilla from her father. A tiny, adorable paw waves in the air. The divine beast pops up on her shoulder with a cute. Her father smiles, explaining that the cub is drawn to her because divine beasts like to absorb others' energy. Energy, she asks, petting the purring cub on her shoulder. Surrounded by flowers, she continues to gently stroke the divine beast, still pondering her father's words. A narrator explains that holy beasts grow by consuming pure human energy. As the cub licks her cheek, she wonders aloud if that's the reason for its affection. She nervously asks her father if it's truly all right for the beast to stay by her side. The Viscount smiles gently, explaining that being the head of the family doesn't automatically grant one the holy beast. He lovingly strokes the tiger cub's head. He continues, stating that while the head of the family usually had the pure energy beasts, like she is the chosen one this time, he concludes that she possesses a gifted energy that all holy beasts find irresistible. reminding her that Jetty also took an interest in her. He watches the cub leap from her arms into his. A cute image of Jetty floats in her mind as she realizes her father was talking about him. He explains that the red eagle sought her out last time, but the reason remains a mystery to him. Camilla looks down at the cub sleeping in her lap, contemplating her strange new reality. Her father gets her attention by saying her name. With a hand over his heart, he expresses his profound gratitude that the holy beast has finally returned to their family. A tear falls from her eye as she smiles, hoping this means she's finally managed to escape her tragic fate. Her father offers to give her a reward for her incredible deed. He proudly declares that for bringing back their holy beast, the entire family's wealth is now at her disposal. Her eyes gleam with dollar signs as she processes the incredible offer of the entire family's wealth. An image of a grand mansion surrounded by falling gold coins fills the air. Recalling a traumatic vision of her father executing her, she decides that money is the most reliable thing she can ask for. Camilla contemplates how to ask for a reward without directly requesting money. An idea suddenly strikes her. Her eyes land on a large stack of documents, and she exclaims, "That's it!" She points to the stack and asks her father for it, much to his confusion. The Viscount questions if she knows what it is, and she confidently identifies it as the mine. In a cute display, she asks if she's being too greedy, but her father reassures her he can give her as many such mines as she wants. He explains that the mine is considered useless and offers her the valuable southern ruby mine instead. Camilla firmly rejects the offer, insisting she wants to conduct her own research. She passionately declares her intention to develop the useless-looking mine herself. Camilla slyly asks her father if her request is okay, and he echoes the question back to her, smiling warmly. Her father wholeheartedly agrees to her request. Minted request. Overjoyed, Camilla clenches her fists in triumph and thanks her father. She sits at a table, smiling contentedly at a plain black rock displayed under a glass dome. The three blue ghosts wonder why she's so happy over a simple rock. Concluding she's inexperienced, Camilla chides them, calling it a golden egg, and Jetty asks if she truly knows what it is. As the dark rock glimmers, she reveals that it's a mana crystal. The ghost explains that the magic tower found its mana levels to be pathetically low. She claims that's because they sent it to the magic tower, confusing the ghost who insists it was the proper procedure. Surrounded by flowers, Camilla smiles, holding a secret knowledge. A narration explains the two categories of magic users, white wizards and black magicians. The narrative continues, revealing that black magicians who used mana differently were excluded, but interest in them is now growing. She explains that the crystal only reacts to a black magician's mana, making it priceless to them, and even usable by white wizards once purified. With dollar signs in her eyes, a chibi Camilla realizes the crystal is a great treasure to any black magician. She lets out a villainous laugh while the ghosts watch, completely bewildered. Turning to Jetty, she reveals there's something she forgot to mention. She reminds the ghost that he was supposed to give her something. The scene shifts to a graveyard as a traumatic memory of her in a black dress crying, "I didn't want to die," flashes by. Back in the present, Camilla calmly notes that the location is the same. The ghost floats ahead of her among the tombstones. Following him through the cemetery, she nervously asks if he expects her to dig a grave. Jetty's ghost hovers over a gravestone and instructs her to dig there. Camilla looks shocked, realizing her morbid suspicion might be correct. Wah! A chibi Camilla furiously rejects the idea. She protests that despite her bad reputation, she doesn't want to be accused of digging up her ancestors' graves. The ghost looks at her, utterly confused by her outburst. He clarifies that he told her to dig beside the grave, not the grave itself. Whoosh! She swiftly removes her shoe. Using her heel as a makeshift shovel, she begins digging as the ghost looks on. She grumbles about not bringing proper tools, but concedes that heels are quite versatile. She unearths a small box as Jetty looks on, still confused. He explains that the box contains a powerful antidote, leaving Camilla to wonder why it was buried there. The ghost asks if she remembers how he passed away. As a vision of him poisoned appears, she bluntly states he died in the palace, prompting him to chide her for her lack of tact. He reveals that an antidote he took continued working long after his body had rotted away. Horrified, Camilla realizes the thing in the box is the result of that process. Drop, she lets the box fall in disgust and the ghost panics, calling it a precious seed. Visibly shaken, she demands a clearer explanation of what she just touched. The ghost's prideful gesture only makes her feel worse. He smiles proudly as a disgusted chibi. Camilla can only say, "I see." A narrator notes that while Camilla died many times, none of those deaths were from poison. Camilla wonders aloud if she'll ever need to use the antidote as Jetty's ghost looks on. A chibi Camilla excitedly asks if there's a hidden treasure, but Jetty's ghost laughs, denying it. She stands thoughtfully in the graveyard as the ghost smiles beside her. The ghost of Jetty gives a faint, peaceful smile. He gets her attention, and she warily asks what he's going to make her do now. Thanking her, Jet's ghost places a glowing hand on her head, his form beginning to shine brightly as he fades. Watching his spirit dissipate, Camilla realizes he no longer has any regrets. She clutches the seed to her heart, smiling as she promises to take care of it and thanks him. His last words echo, "Take care, my child," as she walks away from the peaceful cemetery. The scene shifts to a quiet classroom where students, including Camilla, sit at their desks. Camilla realizes she needs a black magician to activate the mana crystals she received from her father. Knowing there's only one place to find them, a chibi Camilla nervously accepts that she must ask him. With newfound resolve, she stands decisively, ready to face the challenge. She strides through the classroom, turning the heads of her fellow students. As she walks with a determined expression, students whisper, wondering why Camilla is there. One student correctly guesses she's there for Petro, who looks over at her approach. Another student mentally calls her Petro's stalker, recalling her past behavior. Camilla smirks, fully aware of the gossip, and thinking that she hears every word. She walks toward a man with black hair slumped over a desk. She stands before the tired-looking, black-haired student. Camilla stares at him with a serious, unblinking gaze. Her expression softens into a bright, confident smile. She asks the man if he has time to look at an item she brought. A narration explains that black magicians reside in the dukedom of Sepra, as the man with black hair looks on coolly. He internally complains about getting involved with her, but decides he has to for the money. As the man considers her, Camilla recalls the bracelet Ravi gave her. The man with black hair suddenly stands up, surprising her. He turns his back to her and lets out a large yawn. Walking away without a word, he leaves her stunned and wondering if he's ignoring her. Annoyed, she glares after him, determined to get an answer today. She lunges to chase him, but Petro grabs her wrist, asking if something is wrong. Petro looks down at her with a concerned expression. Flustered, Camilla asks him to let go of her hand. He holds on, asking what matter she needs to discuss with such urgency. The romantic moment lingers as he continues to hold her hand, awaiting her answer. Camilla looks up at him, momentarily taken aback by his question. Her eyes narrow with irritation at the interruption. Yank! She forcefully pulls her hand free as he asks if there's anything else. Petro offers to pass a message to Arshan, but Camilla questions why he would do that. He warns her that getting involved with Arshan could be dangerous. Smiling gracefully, Camilla thanks him for his concern. She cheerfully waves goodbye and turns to leave, much to Petro's surprise. Petro is left standing alone, completely bewildered by her behavior. He sighs in exasperation, thinking that this feels just like the last time she did something like this. Camilla walks through the school hallway, frantically searching for Arshan. She spots him walking up a grand staircase and continues her determined search. Feeling dizzy with frustration, she's stopped by a mysterious voice asking if she's looking for Arshan. The blue ghost of a young boy smiles, offering to tell her where Arshan is. Overjoyed, Camilla beams and enthusiastically thanks the ghost Moo. Suddenly, another female ghost appears, startling Camilla and cutting her thanks short. The new female ghost introduces herself as Amy, knowing Camilla can see her. Camilla recognizes Amy as the ghost from her classroom, surprised she isn't bound to one location. As a chibi, Camilla wonders where to find Arshan, Amy appears and tells her to stop pretending. Camilla lets out a weary sigh of resignation. Camilla asks what she wants, and the ghost introduces herself as Amy. Amy slyly offers to reveal Arjun's location. Camilla curtly rejects her, not wanting to get involved. She walks away, deciding to find Arjun herself. Amy follows, happy for the company and revealing Arjun dislikes crowds. The scene transitions to a peaceful garden by a stone wall. Camilla's footsteps mark her path across the grassy lawn. Arriving at the spirit lake, Camilla asks Amy why she's still following her. Camilla tells her to play with other ghosts, but Amy complains they're no fun. Annoyed, Camilla asks if she looks like she has time to play. Giving in, she asks Amy to tell her where Arjun is. Amy points just ahead, revealing Arjun is right there. What? Camilla freezes in shock, a blush rising on her face. She nervously wonders how long he has been standing there. Arjun stands silently among the flowers, his expression unreadable. Amy cheerfully reveals he's been there the whole time, causing Camilla to panic that he heard everything. She clenches her fist, her anxiety rising. She slowly turns to face him, with the ghost peeking from behind her. Camilla forces a bright, cheerful smile. Still smiling, she remains silent before the black-haired man. While she doubts he'd believe her act, Arjun suddenly confirms he can see them. Camilla is caught completely off guard by his words. Arjun turns, stating coolly that he can see them too. His gaze darkens as he refers to the ghosts as those things. Cowering behind Camilla, Amy trembles in fear from his intimidating aura. Camilla shields Amy, scolding Arjun for scaring the ghost just to test her, which confuses him. She comforts the terrified ghost, who cries that she thought she was going to die. Camilla points out Amy is already dead, but the ghost clarifies she feared being exterminated, leaving Arjun baffled. Amy declares that she and Arjun are natural enemies, a term that surprises Camilla. Arjun questions Camilla, asking if she can both talk to and exterminate ghosts. An awkward silence hangs between them in the garden. Arjun scoffs at the idea of doing something so annoying, but Camilla calls him out on his threatening glare. He turns his head away with a click of his tongue. Camilla confidently asserts that she can see them, questioning why he wouldn't be able to. Sigh. Arjun reveals that for him, he only sees a dark mist, leaving Camilla to wonder what he means. A thought bubble reveals that Arjun can't quite see the ghost's form. Camilla scolds him for threatening something he can't even properly see. As Arjun stares, Camilla can't believe she's defending a ghost. Oops. She catches herself, realizing she may have been too harsh. Horrified, she wonders if she should take back her words, recalling his terrible personality. Arjun then asks if she can see this, confusing her. He gestures to the empty space beside him, asking if she sees the one next to him. Camilla looks on in stunned silence, her hand moving to her chest. She sees a young male ghost standing silently beside Arjun. The ethereal blue ghost of the young boy looks on with a sad expression. Staring at the new apparition, Camilla wonders who the child is. Camilla flinches, asked about the one beside her. The small ghost boy clings tightly to his leg. Confused, Arjun asks what she means. She trembles, wondering why he seems so surprised. He abruptly turns and walks away as she calls after him. A chibi Camilla fumes over his sudden departure without explanation. Later, she worries about the thin ghost boy, wondering how he died and admitting her soft spot for children. A small, glowing white tiger appears, and she greets him as King. Stroke. She gently pets King, recalling she named him, hoping he would grow strong. A chibi Camilla remembers Ravi teasing her naming sense, but she thinks King is better than Jetty Chocolate. Caillou. King purrs happily as she asks if he likes his name. Phew. She sighs, deciding not to seek Arjun again, fearing something big might happen. She wonders why all black mages have to be from that family. A narrator explains the separate family's exclusive power over darkness, which even the imperial family cannot challenge. She sighs in frustration, realizing she failed to show him the crystal. A chibi Camilla ponders the true meaning of controlling the darkness. She recalls that in all her past lives, she never had contact with the separate family. She remembers only hearing rumors about their powerful holy beast, a dark wolf. The rumored dark wolf's power was said to leave only death in its wake. Back in her room, King affectionately licks her finger. She looks at the tiny holy beast, questioning if she named him incorrectly. Holding him close, she warns the tiny king to run from any fight. The scene transitions back to the Grand Academy building. Now wearing glasses and her hair up, Camilla sits down to study. The ghost Amy floats by, complimenting her studious look. Camilla reflects on how complicated it feels that a ghost is the only one who talks to her. She resolves to ignore the bored ghost and focus on getting good test results. With her book in hand, she walks through the classroom. Students whisper as Arshan unexpectedly enters the room. She looks up in surprise as he approaches her desk. Thump. He slams his hand on her desk, leaning over her. The other students wonder why the infamous Arshan is there. He leans in close, demanding that they talk. Flustered by his sudden proximity, Camilla nervously looks away. He coolly asks her what she is going to offer in return. With her arms crossed, she listens as he states that his time requires payment. They face each other, a tense negotiation beginning. Her confident act wavers as she wonders what prompted his actions. The scene shifts, showing them standing together in a garden. She stands before him, an unspoken question hanging in the air. He asks her directly if she can talk to them too. She calmly confirms her ability to speak with the dead. He instructs her to ask the ghost boy who he is. TSK. She looks at the small spirit, noting how very thin he is. She gently crouches to meet the ghost boy's gaze. She offers the young, sad ghost a warm and gentle smile. From her hand, she reveals a small, wrapped piece of candy. Kneeling, she kindly presents the candy to the boy. The ghost boy asks what it is, and she explains that it's candy. Realizing he doesn't even know what candy is, she grows concerned. Arshan asks what she is doing, and Camilla cheerily explains that the ghost looked hungry. Looking thoroughly unconvinced, Arshan questions if ghosts can even eat food. As the candy dissipates into glowing particles in her hand, she confirms that, of course, they cannot. The ghost boy clarifies that they consume the energy within an item, adding that it's better than nothing. She asks if he enjoyed it and wants more, and the little ghost eagerly nods yes. Camilla turns to the ghost boy and asks for his name. After a moment of silence, the ethereal boy quietly introduces himself as Ciel. Arshan is visibly shocked by the name, asking in disbelief if he said Ciel. The name Ciel seems to whisper on the wind carried through the rustling trees. Thud! Arslan abruptly drops to his knees. Looking up with an intense expression, he softly repeats the name, Ciel. With tears welling in his eyes, the ghost boy looks at Arshan and calls him brother. Arshan remains kneeling before the ghost of his brother as Camilla watches the reunion. Stunned by the revelation, Camilla wonders if the ghost really just called Arshan his brother. A flashback begins, showing light streaming through the bars of a prison window. In the dark cell, a young Ciel offers a piece of bread to a young Arshan, but both boys insist they are not hungry. The young Ciel looks down sadly, clutching the single piece of bread. He shyly offers to share the bread with his older brother. In a chibi flashback, Arshan sternly tells Ciel to just eat it himself. Leaning against his brother's side, Ciel apologizes as he finally takes a bite of the bread. Young Arshan watches his brother eat with a grim, determined expression. A memory reveals they were only given a tiny piece of bread and a cup of water daily, with the narrator worrying how long Ciel could last. A sinister voice commands them that if they want to live, they must kill, as only one will leave the prison. The voice explains this is the only way to fully embrace the darkness. Young Arshan reacts with disgust, refusing to kill a family member for some stupid power, as Ciel looks on worriedly. Arshan gently pats his brother's head, reassuring him that he's fine. He declares that if he dies, so be it, but he will never allow Ciel to die. Suddenly Arshan stumbles back, clutching his throat in pain as Ciel watches in horror. Arshan rushes to his brother's side, desperately asking what's wrong as Ciel weakly calls out to him. His fist clenches in helpless fury. He pounds desperately on the locked door, screaming for it to be opened. Tears stream down his face as he begs them to open the door. As his younger brother smiles weakly, Arshin asks how he can laugh at a time like this. Ciel says he's glad because soon his brother will finally be able to leave. Arshin's eyes widen in horrified realization as a single tear falls. He tells his brother not to joke around, but Ciel can only apologize tearfully. Crying, Ciel says that he wants his brother to... Arshin looks down at his brother's still form, calling his name in a panic. His agonized scream, "Ciel!" echoes through the dark prison. Back in the present, Arshin kneels on the grass where his brother's ghost has turned to a pile of dark ash. Camilla smiles, figuring that now that Arshin knows the ghost is his long-lost brother, his heart must be warming up. Annoyed, Camilla finds herself stuck in the middle, as Arshin asks what Ciel is saying, while the newly reformed ghost asks for more candy. She bluntly translates that he wants more candy, leaving Arshin momentarily confused. As Ciel clasps his hands in hopeful anticipation, Arshin asks if she has any more, making Camilla silently curse his shamelessness. Arshin holds out a handful of colorful candies for Ciel, telling him to eat as much as he wants. Camilla finds the scene adorable, but can't help wondering if it's even possible for a ghost to gain weight. She asks if she can leave now, but Arshin flatly tells her no. She snaps that she's out of candy, but he calmly states that he will go get more. Defeated, she asks him to at least explain what's happening, but he feigns ignorance. As Ciel clings to his leg, Arshin asks Camilla how long she's been able to see ghosts. Arshin remains silent, his expression unreadable. In a rainy flashback, Arshin recalls gaining this ability ever since Ciel died. Camilla asks in disbelief why he would knowingly leave a ghost attached to him. Arshin asks if she doesn't know how to exorcise ghosts. Camilla confirms that a direct lineage Sepra family member can. She questions why he hasn't done so, but he remains quiet. He looks down at a dark mist by his feet and simply says, "Just because." A fond memory shows a young, smiling blonde Ciel with a grumpy Arshin, who admits he just wanted to keep him around. Arshin explains that since Ciel always followed him as a child, he thought he'd do the same after death. As they walk through the garden, Camilla thinks to herself that it really was Ciel. Camilla tells Arshin that Ciel is hungry and he should get food, secretly feeling envious for the first time. While wishing she could see Ciel too, Camilla notes Arshin's predicament and asks why he hasn't left to get food yet. With a determined look, Camilla turns abruptly. She strides purposefully across the classroom toward Arshin's desk. She firmly places a document on the table before him. "Sign this?" she demands, as another student coughs in surprise. Onlooking students are shocked, whispering about her informal speech. After a brief pause, Arshin silently picks up a pen and signs the paper. "Huh?" Surprised by his quick compliance, she asks if he's not even going to read it. The contract simply states he'll help with Black Mage matters. She's amazed he signed it blindly. Arshin holds out the signed contract, reminding her of his promise as she gives a triumphant thumbs up. Oh my god, the red-haired student and his friends can't believe she just dragged Arshin out by his wrist. As she leads him away, a slightly bewildered Arshin wonders if he heard her right. The scene transitions to a tranquil garden with a large stone wall and a clear stream. Sitting by a pink rose trellis, Camilla offers a warm, "Hi." Ciel's ghost shyly says hello, as Camilla playfully chides him for ignoring her after only a day. Anticipating his shyness, she smiles slyly, revealing she brought him something. She opens a small pouch, revealing a gift of sparkling chocolate chip cookies. Cheerfully offering the cookies, she tells him to eat up, and a blushing Ciel thanks her. The ghost boy happily nibbles on a cookie, his cheeks puffed out. Camilla swoons, thinking he's like a little hamster she wants to keep feeding. Arshin cuts in, bluntly asking what she needed to show him. She puts a hand on her hip and tells him to wait a moment. She reveals a long, dark blue crystal resting on a cloth in her hand. She confirms it's a mana crystal, impressed that he recognized it so quickly. As he takes it, the crystal emits a powerful, brilliant light from his chest. Ooh, Camilla watches in awe as the light intensifies. Arsian examines the glowing crystal, noting its incredible mana and how the elders would attack to get it. She laughs happily, boasting that she has even larger ones. Stunned, Arjun looks at her and asks what she wants from him. Kaya. Surrounded by glowing roses, Camilla reveals she recently bought a mine full of them, a chibi version of her reveling in her new wealth. She explains the crystal only reacts to a dark mage's mana, but a light mage can use it once it's cleansed. He realizes she wants him to be the connector, and a tiny Camilla confirms it. Arshan agrees to speak with that human, leaving Camilla confused by his choice of words. He looks down with a quiet, unreadable expression. Drop. He lets the brilliant blue crystal fall onto a wooden desk. Huh? A tired-looking man, with long brown hair, identified as the Duke of Sepra, stares at the crystal in confusion. The Duke looks up from his papers and asks Arshan what the object is. The Duke of Sepra examines the blue crystal, wondering if it's a low-level mana crystal. Realizing its true nature with a flash, he murmurs in surprise. The Duke asks Arshan what the girl wants, and Arshan simply replies, "A trade." The Duke orders him to bring her there, and Arshan agrees to do so tomorrow. With a faint, confident smile, Arshan turns to leave the office. As he walks away, the Duke stops him by calling out his name, Arshan. Arshan looks back as the Duke impatiently asks how long he must wait for him. The Duke pressures him, saying that it's getting dull and he hopes he'll finish it soon. Clenching his jaw, Arshan leaves as the door slams shut, leaving the Duke alone at his desk. A girl, he said. As Arshan walks away, the Duke reflects that it's the first time he's seen his son do anything for someone else's sake. He continues to muse on how unusual it is for Arshan to visit without being summoned. The scene transitions to the next day, showing the grand Sepra estate. Camilla arrives with Arshan, thinking that the ducal estate is quite normal, contrary to her expectations. With a smirk, she admits she imagined the Sepra duchy would be creepy and full of ghosts. As a maid greets them, Camilla notes with surprise that even the servants are normal. Arshan silently leads Camilla down a lavish, ornate hallway. He abruptly opens a door without knocking, causing an annoyed Camilla to chide him. Peeking past Arshan's shoulder, Camilla's expression turns to one of surprise. She sees the Duke of Sepra inside and wonders if Arshan will grow up to look like him. Camilla gracefully greets the Duke and introduces herself, while he thinks her presence is unusual. A tiny, confused Camilla wonders what he finds so unusual about her. The Duke invites them to sit, and Camilla quietly agrees. Leaning forward, Camilla proposes her trade: refinement and sales of the crystals in exchange for 10 of the profit. The Duke questions her offer, pointing out that the crystals are useless without dark mages. Camilla laughs, explaining that their value lies in how much they tempt dark mages. Gulp. She nervously awaits his decision as the Duke thoughtfully considers her words. The Duke agrees to the trade if she sells to them first. A chibi Camilla shouts call and gives a thumbs up. Confused by her outburst, the Duke questions her, but she nervously laughs it off, saying she just likes his terms. Smiling brightly, she confirms that the arrangement will be fine. A large, fluffy black tail wags in excitement. A massive, black, wolf-like creature appears and sniffs Camilla as the Duke notes his young child seems interested in her. Stunned, Camilla nervously thinks that she had been pretending not to see the incompletely summoned holy beast. The Duke looks on with a knowing, unreadable expression. With the full form of the divine beast now visible behind her, the Duke expresses his surprise that an outsider can see it. He concludes that her precognitive abilities and finding the beast's egg must be why she can see the unsummoned creature. Correcting his address to Your Grace, Camilla states that she can't help but ask him something. With a serious gaze, she quietly asks, "Why?" A brief, painful memory flashes of a small, crying blonde child. A ghostly image reveals the spirit of his younger son, CL, clinging sadly to the Duke's shoulder. Camilla directly confronts the Duke. "Sierra, why are you doing this?" as he looks on in confusion. The scene shifts to a flashback from a few days ago in a peaceful garden. Feeling her nerves fray, Camilla decides she can no longer endure the ghost boy's presence without answers. She calls out the name Sierre, causing the ghost boy, Ciel, to look up from his cookie in confusion. Leaning closer, Camilla quietly asks the ghost boy a question. She asks about the scar on his back, and whether his brother, Arsène, was the one who did it. Ciel leaps to his feet, shouting that it's not true, and Camilla presses him to reveal who it was. The ethereal boy hesitates, looking down with a troubled expression. He quietly confesses that it was his father. Ciel explains that his father said it was all necessary for him to become the master of the divine beast, leaving Camilla confused. Reeling from Ciel's story, Camilla thinks the Sepra family's cruelty is truly shocking. In a painful flashback, Ciel reveals his brother was always beaten by their father, and he received his own scar one day. He explains he was scarred while shielding Arsène from their father's rage. As the cruel family tradition is revealed, mastery of the divine beast requires hatred and resentment. This dark legacy implies every Sepra patriarch ascended through this brutal method of cultivating hatred. Continuing his story, Ciel sadly recalls that he and his brother were then locked up together for 3 months. Horrified, Camilla realizes the intention was for only one to emerge alive and concludes the Sepra family is utterly insane. Back in the garden, Camilla looks at the ethereal boy with immense pity, her heart aching for him. Deciding to comfort him, she offers him another cookie, and the grateful ghost boy thanks her profusely. Returned to the Duke's office, Camilla is deeply confused, wondering why Ciel clings to the father he supposedly hated. She watches in disbelief as Ciel's spirit hugs the Duke, questioning how he can embrace the man who caused his death. With a weary look, the Duke seems to sense the ghost's presence, murmuring his younger son's name, Sierre. As Ciel's ghost begins to cry, the Duke quietly confirms his presence, much to Camilla's astonishment. The Duke of Sepra remains silent, his expression heavy with unspoken thoughts. Arsène glares at his father, his face contorted in anger. The Duke calmly asks Arsène if he has anything to say, to which Arsène coldly replies, "There's none." Slam. Arsène's fist hits the table with resounding force. Leaping to his feet, Arsène furiously confronts his father for having nothing to say after his own son was killed before his eyes. Unfazed, the Duke responds with a cold question, "Should I have one?" "Ha!" Arsène lets out a sharp, bitter laugh in disbelief. Camilla nervously tries to intervene, but Arsène sharply tells her to mind her own business. Though hesitant to get involved in a family feud, Camilla points out something crucial he can't see. She reveals that Ciel's ghost is standing protectively in front of their father, blocking Arsène's path. The tearful ghost of Ciel whispers an apology. Camilla relays the apology, leaving Arsène stunned and demanding to know why his brother is sorry. A memory of Ciel's voice echoes, "I said I would go into the basement." Confused, Camilla and Arsène both wonder what Ciel meant by those words. In a flashback, a deathly ill Ciel explains he overheard he only had months to live, a half-year at most. The memory pains Arsène as he recalls Ciel's desire not to let his brother's suffering be meaningless. Ciel's spirit walks away, insisting that his death was not his father's fault. He remembers his final moments, seeing his father weeping by his bedside. The memory shows the Duke gently kissing his dying son's forehead in a moment of quiet grief. Camilla listens, stunned into silence by the heart-wrenching revelation. The Duke quietly admits he was simply tired of it all, claiming there was no deeper meaning to his actions. He stands, now understanding why past patriarchs of his family longed for death. The Duke tells Arsène that the divine beast's egg is always found in the same location. He reveals the horrific ritual. One must dig through the current patriarch's body to retrieve the egg. He explains that all the abuse was a calculated effort to strip Arsène of useless emotions. The Duke tells Arsène his only purpose now is to harbor enough resentment and hatred to kill him and take the egg. Arsène realizes the entire brutal process was designed to make him abandon all emotion. The Duke coldly reiterates that Arsène's duty is to kill him, take the egg, and continue the cycle. Camilla stands frozen, processing the horrifying family secrets she has just overheard. She panics internally, wondering if she should even be listening to this deeply disturbing conversation. The scene shifts to the bright, stately exterior of another mansion. A young man with blonde hair looks up in surprise as Camilla enters his room. He asks what she's doing there, noting that she doesn't usually visit him. Camilla playfully asks if she needs a reason to see him, leaving the blonde man bewildered. She looks at him with a serious, unreadable expression. She abruptly asks the man she calls Ravi what kind of person his father is, catching him off guard. Ravi points out she's the one closest to father, but Camilla clarifies she means their biological father. Surprised by the sudden topic, Ravi questions her interest, but Camilla brushes it off, saying she's just asking. Camilla wonders if Ravi's biological father was as cruel as her own in her past life. Ravi recalls that in all his years, he has never heard anyone mention their biological father. He admits he doesn't remember either, and questions Camilla's sudden curiosity. Annoyed by her non-answer, Ravi sighs that she always avoids his questions. Ravi mentions a lost ring that their biological father had gifted to their mother. Dismissing her, Ravi says that's all he knows, and tells her to leave so he can work. Camilla stops him by calling his name, and an irritated Ravi asks what she wants now. As Camilla asks if he's busy, an enraged Ravi slams his desk and demands she get to the point. With a mischievous smile, Camilla coyly asks what he could possibly mean. She presents a glittering, elongated blue crystal. Ravi looks confused as Camilla offers him the crystal, questioning if it's a present. He stares at the crystal in his hand, his eyes wide with utter shock. Leaping to his feet, Ravi demands to know where she got it, but Camilla just smiles and says it's a secret. Laughing, Camilla leaves the room, telling Ravi to spread the news as he shouts after her. The scene shifts to a classroom where Camilla works on a document, and a friendly blue-haired ghost girl playfully asks if it's a contract. Camilla smiles, eagerly anticipating the day she can earn enough money to finally leave her home. She thinks about finishing the contract, noting that a ghost named Darren helped her draft it since she lacks the Duke's signature. Suddenly, the ethereal figure of a young boy appears, calling out, "Sister!" Looking up, Camilla is surprised to see a frantic, panting Ciel. She covers her mouth, realizing she spoke Ciel's name aloud, and identifies him as the ghost who follows Arshan. Camilla leans in to whisper, asking Ciel if something has happened to Arshan. A flashback begins, showing a busy sunlit hall filled with students. A purple-haired young man spots someone familiar in the crowd. He recognizes the figure as Arshan Sepra. The man decides to approach Arshan, planning to start with a friendly compliment. He begins praising Arslan's father, the Duke of Sepra, for his power and fairness. At the man's final remark about how great it must be to have such a father, Arshan visibly tenses. Turning coldly, Arslan tells the man to shut up about things he doesn't understand. The purple-haired man laughs nervously, insisting he was only offering a compliment. He continues praising the Duke, pushing Arshan's anger to its breaking point. Clenching his fist, Arshan again orders him to shut up. The man smirks, goading him by asking, "What?" He taunts Aryan, calling him pitiful and accusing him of acting entitled because of his father. With a sneer, the man mocks him, saying Arshan must think he's a duke himself. Pow! Arslan furiously punches the man across the face. Reeling in shock, the man yells in disbelief. Arshan grabs him by the collar, demanding to know if he has any idea what his father did. Pow! Another punch lands, and the students watch in horror. As the crowd whispers for someone to stop the fight, Camilla arrives with a watering can, while a student doubts anyone can stop Arslan. The beaten man chokes out a desperate plea for help. Arslan winds up for another brutal punch. Suddenly, Camilla douses Arshan's head with the entire contents of her watering can. Holding the empty can, she glares at him with a stern expression. She calmly tells the dripping, stunned Arslan to cool his head. As water drips down his face, Arslan stares blankly while Camilla asks if he'll take the injured student to the nurse's room. Camilla turns to walk away, leaving the onlookers completely stunned by her intervention. A red-haired student stops her, and she hands him the watering can, asking him to handle the rest. The red-haired man looks on in utter confusion, questioning what she means. Camilla ignores him, grabbing Arshan by the arm and telling him to come with her. She leads the dazed and soaking Arshan away, leaving the red-haired man holding the can. Camilla grabs Arsian's arm, stopping him with an annoyed look. In the garden, she sarcastically congratulates him for taking his anger out on someone else. Camilla dismisses his anger, telling him it's none of his business, but that his little brother cried a lot, making Arshan flinch. Arshan glares back at her, remaining silent. As Ciel's ghostly shadow appears, Camilla taunts Arshan, asking if he doesn't even want to see his little brother now. Ciel's pleading spirit appears as Camilla internally acknowledges that Arshan has every reason to hate his father forever. When Arshan angrily asks what she knows, Camilla replies that it must be frustrating not to be able to forgive so easily. Recalling a traumatic memory of being choked, Camilla reveals she knows a child who was almost killed by their own father. Arshan stares, completely stunned by her confession. Camilla states that it's only natural to despise a father like that. She remembers her cruel father from her past life, concluding that even a lunatic like him seemed to have his reasons. Camilla tells Arshan she understands his reasoning, but it doesn't make the abuse he suffered disappear. She asks him what kind of advice she gave that person, and Arshan listens intently. With a gentle smile, Camilla prepares to share her wisdom. He asks if her advice was to leave it alone, and she confirms, telling him to stop dwelling on his feelings. She asks if he isn't tired yet and advises him to stop trying to understand his father, as the hate will eventually fade. With a cute shrug, she nonchalantly adds, if not, then oh well, leaving Arsyan speechless. A memory of two abused children appears as she thinks that victims have the right to hate forever and shouldn't have to care. Camilla's expression hardens with resolve. TSK. She suddenly notices Arshan's scraped knuckles and asks when he hurt his hand. Camilla gently takes his injured hand in hers. With a stern look, she tells him to stop making Ciel cry. As Ciel's ghost looks on, Camilla carefully wraps a bandage around Arshan's hand. Arsyan pulls his hand away, announcing that he's leaving now. He walks away, his hand now neatly tied with a purple ribbon. As Camilla watches him depart, she suddenly remembers that he knows healing magic. The memory of Duke Sepra's sudden death flashes through her mind. She recalls how Arsyan became the new duke, causing chaos and gossip to spread throughout the school. Camilla remembers her father's words from her past life, telling her to get stronger so she could kill him. She connects the dots, realizing Arsyan must have killed the duke, and reflects on what a crazy family they are. Camilla recalls that after the duke's death, only one person was able to control Arsyan, a blonde-haired girl. The blonde girl sits peacefully on a stone wall, reading a book. An idea strikes Camilla as she decides getting insurance might be a good idea. Nearby students gossip that Jude quit school after his family went bankrupt, catching the blonde girl's attention. The blonde girl seems unbothered, thinking that Jude was annoying anyway. She then realizes Jude was the one who harassed someone in the forest. Startled, the blonde girl realizes who saved her and is overcome with gratitude toward Camilla. She daydreams about thanking Camilla properly, wondering if a gift would be appropriate. Two classmates approach, calling out, "Layla, so you were here." They ask Layla what she's doing, and she replies that she's reading. They then question if she has finished her assignment. Confused, Layla asks about an assignment, and her friends remind her it's due that afternoon. Layla happily announces she's finished, much to her friends' relief as they admit they haven't started. The two girls sigh, complaining they didn't have time for the assignment because of incidents at home. Layla looks concerned as one girl frets that her father won't accept another failure. Offering to help, Layla suggests they use her finished assignment, and her friends are overjoyed. They eagerly thank her and grab her bag, while Layla forces a weak laugh. Layla warns them not to copy it word for word this time, and they cheerfully promise not to. As one girl starts to thank Layla again, someone snatches the notebook from her hands. Camilla suddenly appears, holding the notebook and asking the stunned girl if she's a doormat. Layla watches in shock as her friend recognizes their imposing upperclassmen. A shocked girl calls out to Lady Camilla. A brown-haired girl greets Camilla, who coldly asks if they know each other. Clearing her throat, the girl asks for the notebook back, but Camilla questions if it's hers. Camilla clutches the book, her expression unyielding. The flustered girl claims Lady Layla let her borrow it. Tap, Camilla takes a determined step forward. Leaning in, Camilla intimidatingly asks if the girl has heard rumors about her. She whispers, asking if the girl heard about her supposed fortune-telling skills. As the frightened girls back away, Camilla warns she doesn't mind reverting to her old ways. Camilla smiles brightly, holding the book she confiscated. Camilla continues, stating they must have been so busy playing that they couldn't do their assignment. The brown-haired girl recoils in shock from Camilla's accusation. With a sly grin, Camilla asks if she should say more about what they were up to. The terrified girls quickly excuse themselves and flee. Camilla smirks, admitting she didn't know much but is glad they're gone, then thanks her informant, a ghost named Amy. Camilla returns the assignment to Layla, asking why she gets bullied so often, while Layla thinks Camilla always helps her. Layla thanks her sweetly, but Camilla thinks she was a smart person and feels a little cheated. Camilla wonders if Layla's demeanor is an act to make men fall for her, while Layla just wonders what Camilla is thinking. Layla beams with innocent delight, and Camilla internally dismisses the idea that it's an act. Camilla asks if Layla wants some candy, and Layla cheerfully accepts. A gray-haired man reports that the Count Hebley family's businesses have all closed. From behind, the gray-haired man tells the silver-haired man that Jude was a problem, and his father must take responsibility. The gray-haired aide can't believe his master suddenly ruined the Hebley family and wonders what he's thinking. Grumble. The silver-haired man seethes, remembering a smiling girl and thinking, how dare he touch her? Cough. The silver-haired man quickly dismisses his aide's question and asks about the academy. The aide confirms the donation was received and that security is being maintained, adding the principal will visit soon. Slam! The silver-haired man furiously shouts, how dare he? In a chibi flashback, the silver-haired man coughs while his concerned aide looks on. A hooded figure discusses the news that the Sephra family will soon unveil a new magic stone. The silver-haired man wonders if they discovered a new magic stone vein. A flashback reveals that black magicians are thrilled, as they previously had to watch out for the family that monopolized magic stones. The aide explains that the Sephra family only handles refining and sales, not ownership of the stones, confusing the silver-haired man. The silver-haired man looks perplexed, questioning if Duke Sephra is selling the stones at someone else's request. Sighing, the silver-haired man dismisses the idea as too troublesome for that person, then decides they should investigate further. The scene shifts to a grand castle as a question hangs in the air. What happened to the Sephra family? Clack. A set of ornate doors swing open. A man with long black hair sits pensively at his desk. He looks up from his papers and coldly asks an unseen visitor what their business is. A different black-haired man in a white shirt stands silently before him. The man at the desk promises not to kill his visitor. He states that he no longer cares about the visitor's feelings because he still hates him for being a jerk. Slamming his hands on the desk, he adds a chilling warning. He tells the man not to expect an easy death. The visitor threatens that the man will regret his futile actions for the rest of his life, remembering a moment of anguish. He declares that the divine beast's egg will no longer be a part of their family because he is taking it. Turning his back, he vows to prove he can be just as strong without it. He proclaims that even without the divine beast, he'll be stronger than anyone. The man at the desk remains silent, watching him leave. The man in the white shirt feels good about his decision as he departs. She says a person doesn't blame him, but her past trauma remains. A black-haired man gives a faint, confident smile. The scene transitions through a flourish of blue flowers. A few days later, the academy is shown across the water. Whoosh! By a large tree, Arson sits alone, his clothes soaking wet. He looks down with a grim expression, arms crossed. Camilla arrives with a picnic basket, remarking on how leisurely he is. He claims it's hot, but she retorts that's no reason to jump in the lake as he turns away. Camilla's red eyes widen slightly with a thought. She pokes his damp shoulder, and he asks what she is doing. Camilla smiles sheepishly, apologizing and saying his body is beautiful. She internally admires his muscular, sword-wielding physique, She touches his face, noting that he's still blushing. Checking for a fever, she leans in, making him flustered. He turns away, telling her to forget it, leaving her confused. Opening the basket, she questions why a magician trains so hard at swordsmanship. She wonders if this is why Rav dislikes him, as magicians find his lack of focus strange. In a flashback, Camilla recalls her brother Rav hating Arshan. Arshan declares the feeling is mutual, enraging Rav. Camilla chuckles, thinking Arshan's personality also plays a part. She continues to laugh quietly to herself. When Ariane asks what's funny, she quickly dismisses it. He gestures toward the basket, asking what is inside. Slap. She bats his hand away, telling him it's not his. The ghost of Ciel appears, looking on with surprise. Camilla lifts a glass cloche, revealing a slice of cake for Ciel. As Ciel's ghostly face brightens, she notes it's because Arshan's mood has stabilized. Ciel's spirit floats away, claiming he's not hungry. His ghostly hand passes through Camilla's shoulder, startling her. Smooshy Ciel's ghost gives a surprised Camilla a kiss on the cheek. She stares in shock as his transparent hand caresses her face. Touching her cheek, she thinks of Ciel's name in disbelief. Leaning against the tree, Ciel's spirit quietly apologizes to his brother. A memory shows a younger Ciel crying out for his brother. Ciel's spirit tells Arshan he was lucky to be his brother and only wanted him to be happy. The spirit's hand gently rests upon Arshan's. Ciel's ghost creates a bouquet of ethereal flowers. He calls out to Camilla as sis, and she answers him. He asks her to take care of his brother, leaving her completely stunned. Ciel laughs it off, telling her not to ask, and teasing her about her eyebrows. The peaceful picnic scene is observed from a distance. Camilla turns to Arshan, asking if he's sad. Touching his chest, Arshan admits he feels not quite sad. She offers him the slice of cake, saying she prepared it for him. He questions her, reminding her she said it wasn't his, as she tells him to eat when he's sad. Flustered, Camilla insists she brought the cake for him to eat. She warns him not to leave food behind, and he looks on thoughtfully. The scene transitions to a wide view of the grand estate. The camera pans across an elegant, sunlit interior balcony. With a triumphant expression, Camilla declares that it's the weekend. A red-haired man shouts animatedly as Camilla daydreams about her weekend. Her peaceful weekend plans are shattered as a black-haired man also appears, and she wonders why they are here. A firm hand suddenly grabs her arm. A white-haired man demands to know what's going on, and the black-haired man explains he was summoned. The black-haired man questions the reason for his summons as Camilla's shopping plans fade away. As the two men bicker, Camilla tries to slip away, telling them to continue their chat without her. Before she can escape, she is quickly pulled back. Held firmly by both the red-haired and black-haired men, a confused Camilla asks what they want. The red-haired man smiles, declaring he came specifically to see and talk to her. They begin to lead her away, as the white-haired man angrily demands to know where they're taking his daughter. Confused by the sudden attention, Camilla wonders why Duke Javilian and Duke Sephra are acting this way. She looks back with a shocked and bewildered expression. Annoyed that they've cornered her but aren't doing anything, Camilla wonders why they even came. A red-haired young man watches from a distance with a smile, seeming uninclined to help. Beside him, a black-haired young man also appears, unwilling to intervene in the situation. The two young men stand together in the grand hall. The red-haired man asks his companion what they should do now, suggesting a walk in the beautiful garden. The black-haired man recoils in disgust, questioning the idea of them walking together. The red-haired man continues to walk, asking if his companion dislikes the idea. While the black-haired man calls his companion a punk, an unseen person calls out to them. The voice offers them an invitation if they are free. An elegant white-haired man appears, inviting the two to take a walk with him. The black-haired man seethes with annoyance at the red-haired man's cheerful demeanor. The scene transitions to an opulent room lined with bookshelves. A giant red bird affectionately nuzzles Camilla, who finds the gesture nice. A large black wolf then snuggles up against her other side. Kyang. Camilla is startled when a tiny white tiger cub appears in her lap, flanked by the two larger beasts. The red bird transforms back into the red-haired man, who laughs and apologizes for the other man pestering her. Cradling the tiger cub, Camilla shushes him, observing that his divine beast seems to follow the other man's child, and suspects they are manipulating their animals. The red-haired man protectively tells the white-haired and black-haired men to stop looking at his daughter. The black-haired man then turns to the white-haired man, asking if he has ever met his daughter. The white-haired man watches the silent black-haired man intently. The black-haired man remarks that the divine beast is much smaller than he expected, while Camilla gently pets the purring cub. The men discuss the cub's size, with the black-haired man suggesting it will grow soon, and the red-haired man wondering if its sealed state stunted its growth. The white-haired man smiles proudly, stating that this is where the beast was born. Changing the subject, the white-haired man confronts the black-haired man about some interesting news and demands to know where he got a certain magic stone. Shocked by the accusation, the red-haired man asks if the black-haired man is cleaning up someone else's mess, and if the stone has another owner. Sensing her chance, Camilla thinks she can leave now, but the red bird tells her not to go. The white tiger cub suddenly leaps from her lap. Announcing her departure, Camilla makes a run for the door while the men call out that she should inform them of her plans. The grand doors close behind her, cutting off the conversation. Leaning against the door, Camilla breathes a heavy sigh of relief, glad to have barely escaped. Composing herself, she decides to get back to her original plan, shopping. She walks purposefully down the long, empty hallway. She stops abruptly, her eyes wide with confusion. A black-haired man in a formal vest, Rouve, stands before her and greets her as Miss Camilla. She asks what he's doing there, and he explains he's on his way to see Master Ludville, Lord Pietro, and Lord Arjun, which surprises her. Rouve confirms the three are walking in the garden, prompting a confused Camilla to imagine the unlikely trio and wonder what they could possibly talk about. Deciding it's not her problem, she dismisses the thought and resolves to focus on her own plans. The scene shifts to a bright, sunny day in a bustling town square. A small creature guides Camilla, who tries to dismiss her unease. A small, purple-haired man with glasses calls out to the miss. Her purple-haired attendant quietly informs her they are still being followed. Arsian looks back in annoyance, wondering why the three men are following him. Camilla remains silent, seen from behind against a cloudy sky. Wham! She turns to confront them, finding the red-haired man smiling at her. The red-haired man laughs, claiming he also wanted to visit the market. The white-haired man, Ludville, adds that it's dangerous for her to be alone. Arshin gives the simplest excuse of all. I'm bored. Frustrated, Camilla resolves to ignore her unwanted entourage. Ludville watches as Camilla and her attendant enter a shop. Camilla pauses at a market stall, contemplating a purchase. As she examines a piece of jewelry, her attendant asks if she wants to buy it. Her attendant notes the accessory suits men, but she reveals it's a gift for her brother Ravi. She buys the gift, wanting to return a kind gesture, while her followers watch. Ludville's expression turns to shock at the mention of her brother. The red-haired man notes her closeness to her brother, causing Camilla to panic about her gift choices. Arsian questions the very concept of giving gifts to family members. A blonde girl's voice rings out, advertising her trinkets and pointing out the pretty sister. Surprised, Camilla turns to see a cheerful blonde girl waving at her. The blonde girl, Layla, brightly greets Lady Camilla. Lila explains she is helping an elderly woman, and Camilla asks if they know each other. Camilla smiles warmly, amused by the unprecedented sight. Lila admires Camilla's cheerfulness despite being bullied and invites her to browse the wares. When asked if she is having fun selling, Layla gives a resounding yes. Bemused, Camilla decides to leave, prompting Layla to ask if she's going. Her attendant's gaze sharpens as he observes the scene. He notes their acquaintance, but Camilla decides to pretend she saw nothing. As they walk away, Camilla forces herself not to look back at the situation. Kia! A man's shout interrupts the market peace, accusing someone of not paying their fee. A ruffian harasses the old woman for a protection fee as Layla watches in horror. Lila bravely steps in, holding up a hand and shouting, "That's enough!" Camilla sighs with exhaustion, realizing this is why she avoids getting involved. The narration marks this as the first meeting between Ludville and Lila, with much more to come. The red-haired man exchanges a look with Ludville. A subtle, knowing smile crosses the red-haired man's lips. A flashback reveals a silent younger boy with brown hair. In the memory, a woman instructs the boy to always help those in need. She smiles, telling him that is how one becomes a good person. Back in the present, Lila fiercely argues with the thugs about their illegal fees. A thug dismisses her interference, claiming they operate by their own laws. A sword is suddenly drawn as the red-haired man joins the fray. With a dark smile, the red-haired man unleashes a brutal attack. Uarg. Cries of pain and calls for help erupt as Camilla watches in horror. She stands frozen in shock, utterly speechless at the sudden violence. The blood-splattered red-haired man calmly asks Camilla if she was hit by any blood. Arsian tells him not to bother. As the red-haired man expresses relief, her clothes are fine. Arsian turns away, muttering, "That bastard," under his breath. Trembling, Camilla buries her face in Arsian's shoulder, horrified that the man smiles while stabbing people. A ghostly man asks Camilla if she is looking at a map. The ghost remarks that she's seen it before, as she states her need to hurry. Reflecting on yesterday's chaos, she wonders why she's surrounded by crazy people. She recalls Arsian's gentle smile at school, a stark and creepy contrast to his blood-splattered face at the market. A butler knocks on her door, announcing that Miss Camilla has a visitor. Camilla looks up from her seat, surprised by the interruption. The blonde girl, Layla, appears with a brilliant smile, calling out to Lady Camilla. Surprised, Camilla asks why she is here, and Lila explains she came to thank her properly. Camilla invites her to sit down, but Layla seems hesitant about something. Layla suggests they go outside to enjoy the weather, mentioning she has gifts for Camilla. Camilla eyes the large basket Lila is carrying with a thoughtful, Lila proposes a walk in the garden, and Camilla readily agrees. Walking together, Layla marvels at how beautiful the garden is. The scene transitions to a peaceful view of a garden gazebo. Lila asks Camilla to wait a moment before rushing off, leaving her confused. A checkered picnic blanket is unfurled with a flourish. A fresh strawberry cake and sliced bread with butter are presented. Camilla is startled to find the ghost has followed her outside. The ghost proudly remarks on Lila's skill as she carefully pours tea. Layla offers the food and drink, hoping it will suit Camilla's taste. She explains that since Camilla has helped her so much, preparing food is the only way she knows to repay her. A stunned Camilla asks if Layla made everything, and Layla proudly confirms she even made the butter that morning. Camilla stares intently at the homemade bread and butter. She carefully spreads a thick layer of butter on a slice of bread. She takes her first bite of the simple meal. Her eyes widen in delight as she declares it delicious, much to Lila's relief. Lila offers the cake, explaining the berries are from her own garden, prompting Camilla to ask if she farms. Layla happily explains she grows food for her family and plans to harvest potatoes and corn soon. Touched, Camilla promises to make Lila something delicious in return. She smiles, finding the simple, warm moment strangely comforting. As they sit in the gazebo, Camilla realizes she's beginning to understand why everyone adores Lila. Lila apologizes for the humble gift, but Camilla sincerely tells her she loves it. Lila looks up in surprise at Camilla's heartfelt words. Smiling warmly while holding her teacup, Camilla thanks her again. Layla is visibly moved by Lady Camilla's kindness. The ghost looks on sadly as Camilla considers offering him food but then decides against it. She worries that revealing ghosts can taste food would only make him more bothersome. The ghost, feral, drools at the thought, desperately wanting to eat. Deciding to handle the situation, Camilla graciously offers a slice of cake to a blushing Layla. Layla beams with pure, unadulterated happiness. Time passes, and after the midterm exam, the school's grades are posted. Students crowd a bulletin board, murmuring in shock and disbelief at the results. Camilla walks calmly down the academy hallway, unfazed by the commotion. She smiles to herself, satisfied that the results are exactly as she expected. Overhearing students question her sudden improvement, she thinks they should try taking the test dozens of times too. A female ghost appears, asking how she improved and whether she used ghosts to cheat. Camilla scoffs, thinking someone else's achievement is far more impressive than her own. She looks at the board, noting that Petro Javelin once again holds first place. Her thoughts then turn to someone who used to submit blank tests, wondering what changed. Arshan suddenly appears behind her, asking if she's surprised by his score, to which she coolly retorts about the intelligence of mages. Arshan leans in close, confirming with a startling, "Yeah, you!" The female ghost reappears, angrily reminding Camilla she's the one she tried to get rid of before. Arshan laughs softly, leaning near Camilla's ear and mysteriously replying, "Who knows?" He whispers an invitation from his father, who wants to discuss the sales of a certain item. Realizing he means the magic crystals, Camilla agrees to visit soon. As Arshan walks away, she muses on how strange it is that those two are speaking to each other. Her thoughts are interrupted as someone calls out, "Lady Camilla!" Lila rushes forward with a brilliant smile, eager to congratulate her. Lila excitedly declares she's proud her friend got first place, prompting Camilla to think her earnestness is genuinely scary. Camilla smiles, privately questioning Layla's use of the word friend. Layla blushes, overwhelmed with happiness. Camilla reflects on how strange it feels to be called a friend, a word she never used in her previous life, as a flustered Lila looks on. When asked about her basket, Lila explains she made more butter and jam since Camilla enjoyed it. Camilla accepts the gift, and Lila happily suggests someone named Pierre will enjoy it. A flashback reveals Camilla previously gave Lila's dessert to an older man named Pierre, who declared it delicious. In the hallway, another student notices Professor JV has returned and asks about his health. Layla also notes the professor's return, while Camilla's expression hardens at the mention of his name. Kia. Female students flock around Professor JV, who smiles and assures them he's doing well. Layla clasps her hands, glad to see the professor looking healthy again. Camilla watches him and grimly mutters, "One more arrived." Lila turns in confusion, asking what Camilla's cryptic comment meant. The scene shifts to a grand mansion under a clear blue sky. Camilla stands thoughtfully among a bed of roses. Inside, a blonde-haired man trembles at his desk, overwhelmed by stacks of paperwork. Slam! He hits the desk in frustration, sighing that he's not busy and demanding to know what she wants. Camilla appears at his door, cautiously bringing up the topic of a serial killer. He grabs her, shocked, and intensely asks if she saw something. Panicked, she throws her hands up and insists she's not talking about herself. He eyes her skeptically, asking if she's sure, to which she nervously agrees. She claims she just wants advice on dealing with serial killers, but finds his strong reaction highly suspicious. Her brother Robbie turns away, demanding to know why she's asking about something so serious. Camilla explains her friend suspects someone they know is a serial killer but lacks proof, and he tells her to report them. He questions how her friend can be sure without evidence, and she explains it's a gut feeling. She continues, saying people are dying and her friend is unsure how to proceed. Ravi advises her to tell her friend to leave it alone, shocking Camilla. He argues that without evidence, it's safer to pretend not to know anything and let the guards handle it if a murder is reported. Camilla concludes that staying silent is the best answer to avoid becoming a target. She clenches her fist, having made her decision. Thanking her brother Oravi for his advice, she places a small gift box on his desk. He picks up the box, asking what it is. He opens it to reveal a sparkling white fox brooch, and she proudly calls it a gift. He bluntly states it doesn't look useful, making her furious and demand he return it. He snaps back, calling her impatient. He suddenly changes the subject, asking why she chose a fox as the design. As he presses for an answer, she awkwardly evades the question. She makes a hasty retreat, shouting goodbye as he calls after her. After she's gone, Ravi looks toward the door with a knowing smile. A flashback shows him giving his advice to stay out of it and leave any investigations to the guards. Riding in a carriage, Camilla resolves to heed his advice and not meddle with Javi to avoid trouble. She reaffirms her decision to ignore everything she sees and hears regarding the matter. At the academy, Professor JV sits serenely in his office. Camilla enters his office and they exchange formal greetings. She feigns a smile, internally cursing fate for forcing a meeting with the very man she resolved to avoid. The professor explains he called her to discuss her last assignment, and she wonders what's wrong with it. Blushing with excitement, he clarifies her research was perfect and asks to use her historical materials. Crediting her family's library, Camilla readily agrees to his request. He hesitates before asking another question, while she senses there's more to his request. Acting like a pleading child, he begs to see the original books, but she firmly refuses, calling them her father's treasures. His expression hardens for a fleeting moment. Confused by his intensity, Camilla cautiously offers to help him in some other way. He laughs, eagerly explaining her knowledge would be a great help, since the books are extremely rare. Her eyes narrow with suspicion as she wonders if he's trying to coerce her. Standing abruptly, Camilla flatly declines his request, leaving him utterly stunned. She gives him a confident smirk and says her goodbyes. Walking away, she muses that he was shocked by her refusal and admits she might have agreed if she didn't know the truth. Her thoughts turn grim as she remembers what she saw, while JV remains frozen in his office. Surrounded by a bloody haze, she wonders why anyone would ever approach him. A haunting vision reveals the ghostly blue figures of women standing behind the professor. She mentally counts 7 female ghosts, all bearing the marks of strangulation around their necks. The 7 sorrowful ghosts loom over the oblivious Professor JV. She notes the ghosts' resentful, crying eyes are all fixed upon him. Camilla recalls her theory that Professor JV is the type of person who is easily haunted by ghosts. She recounts how the number of ghosts haunting him grew from 5 to 6, and finally to 7 after his return. Seeing their murderous glares, Camilla feels certain that he is the culprit. She grows frustrated, wondering why the deaths of 7 people haven't become major news. The unnerving silence surrounding the case bothers her deeply as a hand suddenly reaches for her. Thump Professor Javi grabs her shoulder, causing her to freeze in terror. He asks with concern if she is unwell, but she stammers that she was just startled. Camilla acknowledges this, noting that his counseling role contributes to his popularity. Her red eyes narrow with sharp focus. She stares past him, her attention fixed on a glowing detail on one of the ghosts. She observes that one of the ghostly women is only wearing a single earring. Feigning nonchalance, Camilla mentions she recently lost an earring, piquing his interest. She deliberately describes it as a purple earring with violet flowers matching the ghosts. His face pales as he repeats her exact description back to her. She brushes off her failed attempt to test him, cheerfully saying she can just buy another one and asks if he's finished. He urges her to reconsider his request to see the books, and she gives a non-committal response. She gives a final knowing glance before leaving. Clenching her fist, she resolves that she cannot let this go and must take action. As she looks around the hallway, she thinks about how a certain someone was always nearby. The red-haired man suddenly appears behind her, startling her with his close proximity. He asks what she's doing, and when she says she's looking for someone, he offers to help. Leaning closer, he playfully asks if she happens to be looking for Arshin. She curtly denies it, and he presses her to say who she's looking for. With a determined look, she announces she is searching for young Lord Pietro. He breaks into a wide, charming smile and tells her to simply call him Pietro. A flashback reveals that his smile used to make her fall for him, but now he tells her she doesn't have to do that anymore. He explains that someone named Dorman has told him the whole story. The narrative describes the tragic fate of the original Camilla, whose incompatible soul led her to be shunned and unloved. She tells Pietro not to show kindness he doesn't mean, calling his smile fake. Clenching his fist, he acknowledges that while he knows she thinks he's a good person, that's enough for her. Pietro's thoughts reveal he likely acts this way to be seen as a good person. Turning her back on him, Camilla announces she is leaving. Pietro is left stunned, wondering if his insincere kindness was that obvious. In a flashback, her voice echoes his thoughts, telling him to stop being kind if he doesn't mean it. He continues to recall her words, questioning if she really saw through his facade. My good little Petro. A flashback begins with a young, red-haired Pietro hugging his frail, light blue-haired mother in her bedroom. His mother holds him close, telling him how happy she is to have him. During a gathering, his mother proudly agrees with another lady that her son is a model child. Pietro recalls his mother's weak health as he remembers her asking to leave a party, which he readily agrees to. He reminisces about how it became his daily duty to assist his mother with walking. He remembers how happy his mother was when others praised his proper behavior and kindness. A young Pietro looks up at his mother, who smiles down at him with affection. His mother's elation at hearing him complimented is recalled. He remembers his mother's praise, noting that her happy expression momentarily hid her sickness. Believing his smile made her happy, he resolved to always smile brightly for her. Heeding his mother's bedside wish, he promised to always help others in need. He also promised to be polite to everyone, never showing a hint of dislike. She tells him that this is how to become a good person, and he lovingly agrees. Pietro's narration concludes that he did all this to make his mother happy. Even after his mother's death, he recalls how being kind became a daily habit. A gentle smile remains on Pietro's face as he stands under a clear sky. He reflects that kindness didn't hurt anyone and brought people to him, so he never thought badly of it. Yeah. A scream pierces the memory as he wonders why he acted differently that day. A flashback shows the original Camilla in a red dress grabbing another noblewoman, causing a scene. Pietro admits that he normally would have intervened to stop the fight. A shocked woman names the crying aggressor Camilla Sorfel. Pietro looks on with a slight smile, wondering why she follows him around so much. Deciding he's tired of it all, he turns and walks away from the scene. His footsteps echo his departure from the commotion. He later admits that after leaving, he felt a sense of discomfort. Realizing the women were fighting over him, he decides he shouldn't have just left them. But by the time his guilt sent him back, the confrontation had already ended. He returned to find that both of the women were gone. He socializes with other women, thinking Camilla will find him anyway, and bids them farewell. However, he recalls that he didn't see her for a while after that incident. The perspective shifts to Camilla, who spots two men, Arshin and a companion, noticing her from afar. Pietro's narration reveals that the next time he saw her was at the graveyard on the anniversary of his mother's passing. Arshin's companion notes that Camilla isn't trying to get Pietro's attention, while Pietro wonders if she just can't see him. He watches her, realizing he had wrongly assumed she came to the graveyard to follow him. After that day, he noticed a change in her. She not only stopped stalking him, but the constant look of anxiety vanished from her face, replaced by a newfound peace. He watches from a distance as she smiles and socializes with her friends. The sight of her by Arshian's side stirs an unfamiliar emotion within him. Pow! He remembers seeing Arshian violently punch another student without hesitation. While others reacted with shock, Pietro simply watched with a neutral expression. He muses that Arshian lived as he pleased without caring what others thought, wondering why she chose him. The conflicting emotions leave him feeling strange. Pietro looks on with a cool intensity, a blue energy swirling around him. A memory flashes of him walking away as a pink-haired woman dealt with two men on the floor. He calmly tells the pink-haired woman to take care of the aftermath, leaving her bewildered. Walking alone, Camilla sighs, frustrated at having wasted time with Pietro. She wonders aloud where the person she's looking for is, just as a voice asks who she seeks. Turning in surprise, Camilla instantly recognizes the voice. A ghostly blue girl with short hair appears, waving and calling out Amy. The ghost, Amy, happily clings to Camilla, who asks where she's been all day. Camilla looks serious, telling the ghost she has a favor to ask. Thrilled that Camilla needs her, Amy eagerly asks how she can help, confusing Camilla with her excitement. Camilla leads the way, telling Amy she has someone for her to see. Inside, Professor JV gazes thoughtfully out of a window while drinking from a cup. From a distance, Camilla points out the professor to Amy, asking if she sees the ghosts surrounding him. Amy's ghostly form quietly confirms that she has seen them before. Camilla asks Amy to question the ghosts about their deaths and to confirm if Professor JV is the killer. She suggests that if it's too difficult, Amy could just bring one of the ghosts to her. Seeing Amy's hesitation, Camilla asks if she is scared. The ghost touches her own neck, replying that there is no need to ask them. Camilla gasps in shock, realizing that Amy also had a scar around her neck. As a vision of a menacing Professor JV appears, Amy reveals he is her older brother. The scene transitions with a dark, textured pattern. A dark-haired butler with a warm smile welcomes his lady home. Looking utterly exhausted, Camilla gives a weak reply concerning the butler. He offers her warm tea, but she tiredly waves him off, saying she's fine. He notes how tired she looks, and she grimly asks if it's that obvious. Covering her face, she sniffles and daydreams of a revitalizing chicken ginseng soup. She looks up, suddenly asking for Dorman's whereabouts. The butler explains Dorman is busy redecorating her room, as tiny servants are shown happily arranging furniture. As the butler, Rube, prepares to leave, Camilla calls out his name, stopping him. He turns back to her with a questioning look. She announces she has a request, and he readily agrees to help. Her expression turns serious as she clarifies it isn't a request for a butler. With a smirk, his eyes glowing gold, he listens as she addresses him as Black Shadow. Camilla formally states her request is for the leader of the Black Shadow. Rube laughs, feigning ignorance and asking if he misunderstood her. She places a hand on his chest, confidently telling him she knows he's the leader. Dismissing him for now, she says she's tired and will see him later. Rube stands alone in the vast hall, his expression unreadable. A title appears in an ornate frame, Black Shadow. The narration explains Black Shadow is a secret organization within the Sorful family. Its agents travel the continent to gather secret information for the head of the family. The organization also acts on the head's secret will, and Camilla reveals how she knows this. The ghostly form of the previous leader, Darren, appears beside her. Camilla muses that she always found it strange for a head butler to possess so much information. She also notes it was odd for an old man like Darren to have such a strong physique. The narration reveals Darren raised Rube as his successor, making the head butler also the Black Shadow. Rube watches Camilla as she sits with the ghost of the former leader, Darren, beside her. Rube's gaze is sharp and focused. Camilla understands he returned not as a butler, but as the Black Shadow's leader, who serves only the Sorful family head. As such, the narration concludes he has no reason to bow to anyone else. Camilla presents her request to the butler, Rube. Holding photos of the deceased, she asks him to investigate their deaths. Rube's red eye narrows as he listens in silence. Camilla's thoughts confirm her suspicions. Professor JV was the killer. She asks Amy if her brother truly killed them, and the ghost sadly confirms it. Amy reveals they grew up in an orphanage, but she was adopted first and abused. 8 years later, her brother found her, but her parents demanded money for her freedom. While her brother worked tirelessly, she tragically died from the neglect. A vision of her brother's anguished face fills the screen, his eyes filled with tears,